If you've ever been added to a group chat that you shouldn't have been added to, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Folks, welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, and it's one of those days. Some stuff happened. Markets going up yesterday. Looks like we're going up again. We actually did a red-green move in the pre-market today, which definitely did not see coming. We got some news to break down. It's T3 Tuesday. Let's just go ahead and get this baby started. Good morning and welcome back, folks. We're back for another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, where we're going to get you ready for the day here today. We're going to do some trading with you, and we're going to bring Anne-Marie on and give you some options trades. We got a full day here. We're going to go ahead and get it rolling here this morning. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Rustam doesn't even say good morning, just VVPR right out the gate. Well, VVPR to you too, Rustam. I'm just kidding, man. Good morning. It's good to see you. Welcome back. Up. Is Tesla going to rip again today? The answer is yes. It actually already did rip here today. We had news that Tesla halted its self-driving in China. Stock plummeted on that, I think. And now we're pretty much back to balance. So it's already ripped here in the pre-market. I expect some more volatility in the regular session here today. Good morning, Doss. Thanks for joining us. Paul, good morning. It's great to see you again. Pete, welcome back. Locked in. I love that. You regulars are the best. Sun-kissed you. Speaking of regulars, Sun-kissed Yogi, welcome back. Dirty Has, welcome back. Rustam, VVPR, I think, is on the gainers list. I know it went crazy yesterday. Maybe we'll take a look at that for relative volume here today. One of those smaller companies, though. We will probably be taking a look at that a little bit later, Rustam. But good morning. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Yassine, good morning. Chuck, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Day Trader, locked in. Day Trader, got a Bitcoin story here I want to ask you about. Hopefully you're doing well. I know it's early out there. Hopefully you got some coffee. Tyler, good morning. It's great to see you again. Shadowed One, good morning. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Ralph, good morning. JJ, good morning. Michael, good morning. Fairchild, welcome back. Locked in. Adit, good morning. Robert, Larry, and Bernhard, good morning. Graph, good morning. Terlingua, good morning. 3D, locked in, good morning. Dermog, good morning. Gringo Loco, good morning. Calm for Bitcoin to the moon. What do you think, folks? You think we get Bitcoin to the moon? We'll see. Yeah, so fine. Good morning. Oh, it is a fine morning. Speaking of that, all right, let's go ahead and dive in and see what we got here today. We're going to start with the SPY. Big thing here was going to be the 200-day. And I've been talking about this for a while. We've also been talking about some of these different sell-off levels. So obviously, since the clean bounce off the 10% pullback level, yesterday we actually recaptured the 200-day moving average. And this was interesting because for a majority of the day, we're actually staying right under it. In fact, in that morning push that we got yesterday, we traded right up. Let's see if my chart is going to cooperate with me here today. We pushed right up to that level. And we really couldn't break above and hold. Then we came back in, and then we did break above and hold on that level. Now, this morning, we actually came down a little bit right out of the pre-market open. But the buyers had no chill today and bought us right back into green. So as I was saying in the opener there, we actually had a red-green move already in the pre-market. We talked a little bit about Tesla, which we're going to look at here in a sec, but this also happened in the regular market here today. So SPY S&P futures here up 0.23%, SPY's up 0.25%, Dow futures here up 0.2%. And NASDAQ also up 0.2. NASDAQ probably has the biggest intra-morning move of all three of those. So interesting stuff here today. If we go back to the daily chart, it sure looks like this market wants to keep trying to trade back up. One of the things I did is I stayed true to what I was telling you. I actually ended up buying some SPXS right at the close yesterday, or right near the close yesterday, because we did, in fact, test that 200-day. Now, I went really small. I nibbled. I basically just added a little bit here and thought, I would have really liked it if we had stayed under that 200-day moving average. We did technically close above it. But what I'll be watching for here over the next two sessions, especially, is do we still close above that level? I would not be shocked at all if we traded up here today right out of the morning, and then at some point we got some tariff scare or some interest rate scare or some Fed speak scare or just some regular old scare, and that actually shakes the market down. We'll see. We'll see where we end up going. We do have some stats here showing us that, hey, we actually might be past that sell-off point. So again, we'll see where we go here today, but this is one of the things we're looking for. We're absolutely going to ask Red Dog about SPY and see what he thinks and where we might go here. A couple of other levels that I want you folks to pay attention to. The 582.30 level that we have identified. This goes all the way back to October of last year. That level has been both support and resistance, and it looks to be resistance here again today. If we continue to trade up, we'll see if we get that high. And then above that by about another 7 points is going to be your 50-day moving average, and slightly above that is your 100-day moving average. So those are some of the spots, the upside spots, if you will, that we could be going after here today. And then as far as some of the downside spots, obviously we want to take a look at that 200-day moving average, which all of a sudden got deleted off of this, which is very, very strange. Let me actually try something here. I don't know. Did I really click on that and delete it? That's crazy. Anyway, here we go. That 200-day, we're definitely going to pay attention to that level. That's going to be 573.90. And then also that 20-day moving average to get about 571.35. So we'll see if we end up taking any of those out. It's also worth noting we have this little gap below here. So if we do start to fall, I would imagine, especially if it's kind of a fast moving fall, I bet we probably fill this gap down here, but we'll see. We'll see how much we end up rolling over and taking some of that stuff out. Okay, wanted to go through a couple of things here and also share a Ryan Dietrich tweet with you as per usual. Financial markets are experiencing a rare simultaneous downturn of the S&P 500, tracked by the SPDR, and the U.S. dollar index, echoing patterns last seen during the 2008 financial crisis. Recent data reveals a parallel decline that has sparked investor attention and raised questions about economic stability. In December of 2024, the S&P 500 index stood at 5881 before dropping to 5767 by March 24th, representing a 1.93% decline. Simultaneously, the dollar index fell from 108 to 104, a 3.7% decline. The synchronized retreat mirrors a similar occurrence in 2008 when the S&P 500 declined 9.94% and the dollar index dropped 7.61% between December of 2007 and March of 2008. The current market landscape is characterized by growing recession concerns. Goldman Sachs has increased its recession likelihood forecast from 15 to 20%, while Bank of America's survey indicates that 55% of fund managers perceive a global recession as a primary market risk. So a couple of things here on this. It's definitely worth noting. We follow stats all the time. We're going to follow both positive and negative stats. A couple of things to take away from this. Number one, the declines that we're seeing now, not even close, really, on a percentage basis to what we saw back prior to 2008 or right around the turn of the year there at 2008. And the other thing is we've actually talked about some of these recession concerns with Tim Melvin. He actually had some content that was directly about this, saying that, there are other factors in the economy right now that are probably going to prevent that. It might feel like that, and there might be some stats that you can kind of piece together to show that it actually isn't the same. There's not a whole bunch of mortgage problems of people going to be underweight on their mortgage. The banks are stronger, the whole nine yards. And like we were just saying, the decline there, not really comparable, despite them both moving in the same direction. So worth noting, we'll definitely keep our eye on this. We'll also see what other analysts continue to say about an incoming recession or stagflation or any of that stuff. I'm not sure that I really want to panic because of this, but did want to share this with you folks here today. So I'd like to see, or if you guys think that this is coming, I just like to get your opinion on this. I'd like to know where you guys and gals fall on this. Let's move over to a tweet here from Ryan Dietrich. Back in February, when stocks were hitting new highs, we warned of a banana peel coming in late Feb or early March. We then had a standard 10% correction, and now we likely have another March Madness low. I can get on board with us calling this the March Madness low, that's for sure. Interesting that both calls made people mad. Well, Ryan, I can answer that one. It's the internet. You could wake up and say, I like pancakes, and somebody out there will be offended. There's no doubt about it. So I'm unsurprised to see that a market call was met with ire on the internet. Completely unsurprised. Stocks have bottomed in mid-March the past 20 years. The average year for the S&P 500 of the past 20 years. Here you go. This basically is showing us the seasonality that we've been talking to on a regular basis here. We've kind of factored this into some of our trades. I know I have. Still in a little bit of a short via that SPXS, but again, we'll see how that plays out here. The big thing to take away from this is, while there is some short-term pain, even looking at this on a yearly basis as opposed to a longer-term basis, even though there is some short-term pain, there definitely is some long-term gain. And I think that one of the best things that we can do here for this group is not lose sight of the fact that, the market's going to go up and down. There's going to be good stuff. There's going to be bad stuff, but it's really how you handle that and how you approach this over the long term that's going to determine how well that you do. So I want to keep on with the theme that we want to remain calm. We want to make educated decisions. We really don't want to panic. We don't want to succumb to chasing and doom and gloom and talking heads. I mean, just look at prior to Friday. Just look at, CNBC. They're rightfully reporting that things look bad out there, and then all of a sudden the market turns around and it's like, hey, there's green everywhere. Everyone's smiling. Hold on, it's just how it goes, right? This is the market. This is how it works. We know all of that. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep it long term. I think that's the smartest thing that you could possibly do. All right, let's talk about some Bitcoin. I know you folks are ready to talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to ask Red Dog about Bitcoin too here. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin match stocks rally as Trump hints at tariff relief. Tell you what, just really quickly on the whole tariff thing. Yesterday we get news. Well, over the weekend, we get news that the tariffs aren't going to be as broad as they initially said. And then we heard that some countries are going to be exempt. Then we got some news about auto tariffs. We got a lot of news back and forth. And I got to say, this is something that we kind of expected, right? We should not really expect that. We should kind of expect some of this volatility. I said yesterday in the happy hour, I do think the market is going to eventually get tired of this. They're going to keep hearing the word tariff over and over, and eventually it's just going to shake it off, and it's not even really going to care. In the meantime, we're moving around because of that, but as you can see, that can change on a whim. Nonetheless, here, leading cryptocurrencies continued their upper March Monday as President Trump hinted at tariff reprieve for some countries. Bitcoin sailed above 88,750 in early trading, its highest in over 2 weeks, before retreating to 87,000 there. Ethereum breached 2,100 following a nearly 4% jump in the last 24 hours. Further 600 million in shorts risked liquidation if Bitcoin breached the 90K mark. So checking in here at Bitcoin this morning, we are hovering just shy of that here. Bitcoin futures traded up to a high this morning of 87,500. She got a little bit above that, but not a whole lot. So 87,500 on the Bitcoin futures. We'll see where we end up trading here today. Let's actually take a look at the chart here. Oh, and then the other thing is that I want to know if there are any other coins that you folks are looking at. I know we've already been talking about Solana. I know we've already talked about Ripple. I think we have another new coin here. Yeah, that's the next story here. We got a Sam Altman coin that I want to ask you guys about. Here you go. Rect Capital saying Bitcoin, slowly people are starting to believe. Some of these big drawdowns being met with buyers. I tell you what, it does seem like people are less afraid of Bitcoin now. I guess that depends who you talk to. But looking at you, Jamie Dimon. We'll see. We'll see where this ends up going. I do think that I know I'm starting to think maybe I'm being a prisoner of the moment here, but I'm starting to think that my order that's sitting out there at 770K is just not going to get filled. We'll see. I'll keep it out there. Certainly not going to chase it. Taking a long-term approach here at Bitcoin. Quote, if the rally continues, the FOMO could fuel a parabolic move. But if the bulls lose control, expect a sharp correction as over-leveraged positions get wiped out. Now, if I had to root for one of these scenarios, it would be the latter. I definitely want a capitulatory pull. I'd like it in Bitcoin. I'd like it in the regular market. I'd like really for just everything to kind of come in a little bit, shake out some of the weak hands, give us a reset on some different metrics like price to earnings, and then set up for the next move higher here. And it's one of the reasons I have orders just out there, sitting out there. So would love to know what you folks think about Bitcoin. Are you trading Bitcoin more or less the same? Are you looking into new coins? Are you funneling into what more, I don't want to call them stable coins, more popular coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and such? Let me know how you're handling some of the different Bitcoin moves here. I did want to actually go back to the chart real quick. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart, see where we're at. All right, so again, just really quickly, the moving average that's on here, the blue line, is going to be your 200-day moving average. I basically borrowed that from my stock layout. The key takeaway here about where we're at here in Bitcoin is we are still in the support area that we carved out. It's about 85,000 to 90,000. And now we're actually in this channel. No, it's not a perfect channel here. It's actually two trend lines that kind of make a channel. This, to me, we're still kind of in no man's land, frankly. I think it... In other words, I think it's probably a coin flip here, whether we go to the upside or to the downside. Frankly, if we get more tariff talk or anything really that spooks the market, and the broader market starts selling off, I can easily see Bitcoin kind of rolling over, testing this trend line, and then maybe even setting another lower low here, looking at these past plunges. So we'll see. And then obviously we're going to look for the upside. If we break this trend, that would be really bullish. If we break out of this area, that would be really bullish. You can see we've actually had this pretty good support line that should now be a resistance line up there at 92K or 92K and change. So to me, again, kind of a coin flip here, kind of in no man's land. Love to hear what you folks think. Day trader, there's a coin on Solana called Zeus, one of my favorite Greek gods, by the way, that I really like. It lets Bitcoin holders use their Bitcoin in Solana DeFi and earn while they hodl. You know what? I'd actually like to read a little bit more about that. On the surface, from what you just said, day trader, I like that too. One of the whole reasons I wanted to move into Solana so that I could stake it and earn some interest on it. Earn while I hodl. I've been charting it on X for like the last 1 to 2 weeks. Tweet me one of those. I'll take a look at that chart. I'd love to take a look at that chart. I got in around 25 and it's up to over 43 since March 19th. That's almost a double in that time. Pretty good stuff, day trader. I'd love to see some of those charts. And I'm more open to learning about newer coins. I know I've kind of been a dinosaur by just kind of sticking with Bitcoin and Ethereum. I want to get back into Litecoin. I'm still looking to get into Ripple and all of that. So just really interested in any of these different coins, setups, charts, the whole 9 yards. I do take a long-term approach to this, so I'm not going to get involved with any of the day-to-day, but nonetheless, would still love to expand or add tools to the toolbox, if you will. Now, staying along with the Bitcoin theme here real quick, did want to talk about this. Sam Altman founded WorldCoin Network, beats Bitcoin and Ethereum with an 11% rally amid Visa partnership reports. So the first thing I'd like to ask here is, does anyone know anything about this that might be helpful for the group? World Network, which is WLD, was one of the cryptocurrency market's hottest coins on Monday amid speculation about a deal with Visa to build a new stable coin wallet. I got to say, the more we hear about this, the more and more it just confirms Bitcoin's joining the mainstream or becoming more and more mainstream. WLD, the native currency of the Decentralized Identity Verification Project, jumped over 11%, becoming the fifth most successful cryptocurrency in the last 24 hours. My question is it legit? Can it hold, or is this just going to wipe people out that are buying at the top here? The coin's trading volume nearly tripled to 234 million as the buying pressure tossed it into a 2-week high of 94 cents. The rally outshone returns by market heavyweights Bitcoin and Ethereum, which grew 0.75% and 2.75% respectively over the last 24 hours. The uptick followed reports that the Sam Altman founded platform was in talks with Visa to develop a stablecoin wallet integrated with the payment giant's massive customer base, according to CoinDesk. The World Network didn't immediately return Benzinga's request for comment on the matter. If I hear about this, I will, of course, bring it to you. Our team did reach out, though, and did not get a response. World Network collects people's irises to authenticate their humanness and create a digital ID, thereby making them eligible to receive free WLD tokens. Interesting. So you're taking biometric data, in this case, iris data, to authenticate humans. And then by doing that, you're giving them free tokens. Interesting. I will say, especially after what we saw with 23andMe, not really keen on giving biometric data or DNA data or any of that to anybody. So that is definitely not something in the pro column, at least not for me. But it sounds like you could trade this or own this without giving up your data, which is kind of interesting. However, the project has been mired in controversy over concerns of personal data privacy and has been banned in Hong Kong, Kenya, and Spain. I am not surprised at all to hear that, and this is kind of why I wanted to bring this up here. Obviously, it's making some news with the volume that it's trading at and all of that. Privacy concerns, though, that's generally speaking a non-starter. And I would imagine if you don't trust Bitcoin to begin with, this is also something that you're just not even interested in. Not even interested in. Okay. I got bagged, a day trader here. I got bagged in WLD. It went crazy when it first came out on the AI buzz, but it was associated with Altman wanting a new digital ID. It went from almost $10 to under $1. I'm not convinced, except it's hard to ignore Altman's backing. Okay, so real interesting. So this has already made a huge move down. Part of me wonders if that is helpful, right? We kind of see that with stocks. Some stocks that are either new IPOs that just sell off early on, then have all of a sudden become hot, or once some of the hype dissipates, then all of a sudden it becomes hot. So interesting there. You got bagged in it. I'm sorry about that. I would imagine you probably don't like it after that. I do appreciate you sharing the story there. Okay. So your prediction of XRP is like 110 for the year. Explain. I don't have a prediction on XRP. I don't even own XRP. I've been waiting to add that. We can take a look at the chart and see what the chart says. That wouldn't be a problem. Here, let me go back to the chart and let's do that. I know Lion was saying I should just, the last several weeks, I should just buy this. Here's what I was kind of looking at. The chart showed a head and shoulders setup here. And so the idea here is that this kind of rolls over and then moves lower. And so just generally speaking, with being rather conservative with financial instruments, I'm going to add something for the long term. I'd love to add it at a support level. And given what we see here in XRP, I would love to be able to add this down here near the 200-day. Now, we've got the 200-day right here at 173. If we did get a head and shoulders, this move kind of measures down to about, what, 140? 150, maybe even a little bit lower. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get that, but this is one of the things that I'm kind of looking at here. And I think that if the market pulls one more time, or again here in the near future, I don't even just want to say one more time. If the market pulls here, I would imagine Bitcoin follows, and I would imagine XRP would be part of that. So what I'm trying to do here is to really kind of tighten up an entry. Be patient and wait for that signal to add it lower. And then I'm using the chart to kind of do that. Now, I fully understand that, first of all, this head and shoulders might not even materialize. And even if it does, we might not print as low as some of these levels. And then so it's going to be up to me to just kind of add as this resolves. But because I'm not in a hurry, I don't feel compelled to jump in right now. I certainly don't want to chase. Bitcoin's been volatile right here, and I'll kind of wait out one of the next big moves here. Hopefully it's not up. I do still have a little bit of Bitcoin. I do have all of my Ethereum. So it's not as if I have no exposure, but I do kind of want to wait this out and see if we're given some better entry here on XRP. But this is a good question, and might as well explain it. Start slow and dollar cost average is the question here. So, Jonathan, with my investment thesis on this being a long-term holder, yeah, I'm totally comfortable doing that. I can absolutely dollar cost average, and I would, when you're adding here, add small, right? I probably should just buy a little bit, but I do think it's probably going to break beneath 2, and that's kind of held me out of it. I'll just assess this on a weekly basis and see where I'm at. But yes, the goal here, one of the reasons why I ask you folks about the utility of the crypto and the longevity of the crypto and what this can achieve and what problems is it trying to solve is because I do look to hold it long term. And I believe that the cryptos that have some type of utility or are solving some type of problem, generally speaking, are going to have a better performance over the long run. We'll see if I'm right about that. Crypto, very small percentage of my overall portfolio for the purpose of investing. But there we go. Good stuff. Good stuff there on Ripple. Okay. One more thing to get through here, I think, before we get to Red Dog. Gene Munster predicts 2025 as the year of the humanoid investor hype, citing Elon Musk and Jensen Huang's influence. Tesla, NVIDIA, and XPeng are poised to benefit. Okay, so before I dive into the story here, let me just get a quick temperature check of the chat here. Are you guys all about humanoid robots? Would you pay perhaps thousands or maybe even tens of thousands of dollars to have a humanoid robot assisting you in things and walking around your house? This to me is just a little bit of a bridge too far right now. Maybe I'll change in the future, but man, oh man, I think that if there was a robot walking around my house, if I woke up in the middle of the night, I'm liable to draw my pistol on that. Just saying that just, it seems strange. Not sure that I'm ready for this, but nonetheless, the market and the technology curve that didn't ask for my opinion, and they're going to push forward anyway. Investors should brace for a potentially transformative year in humanoid robotics, with industry experts forecasting significant technological and market developments in 2025, according to recent insights from leading technology executives and investment analysts. Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management. I like Gene. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a sharp guy. I think he makes some good calls here. Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management believes 2025 will mark a critical inflection point for humanoid robot investments. Drawing parallels to the recent quantum technology surge, Munster suggests the sector could see comparable investor enthusiasm, with key partners like NVIDIA and Tesla positioned to benefit. Quote, the humanoid trade is set to begin, end quote. Okay. I'm definitely going to go to these. No, I don't think I'd buy a robot until I was super old. I think that is probably a really good move. Market Sniper taking the other side of that. I'm 100% with robots. Okay. If it works properly, makes food, cleans, I'd happily pay a healthy buck for one. Producer, he wants his robot to cook and clean for him. How about that? Judge says, yes, I'm in for robots. Rafat says, no, I'm not. Jane, no, I will wait for Temu to offer one for $19.95. Oh, that's funny. Do you trust a Temu robot? That's interesting. That's good stuff. Shadowed One says, total Jetson vibes. I'm in. Hey, you know what? I actually think 13 said this the other day. Ever since we saw the Jetsons as a kid, we're like, yeah, flying cars and robots, the future's so bright I need sunglasses. That just, now it seems like we're almost there. We're talking about Archer Aviation and humanoid robots walking around the house. Yikes. I'm in, but only if it works as it should. Well, there is the $64,000 question, right, Quantum? And this is why I've always advocated for a 6-foot cord for the robot so it can't chase me in case things go haywire. Harley says, no, sir. Harley, I'm with you, man. I don't think I need a robot in my house. I love them. Do not kill us. Just make us your pets. So, you know what's funny? And I've kind of laughed at myself about this. Frankly, if you can't laugh at yourself, what are you even doing? I got the new Samsung S25 phone, and it has the Gemini AI built into it. the little button that starts it up. So I tried it. I was like, I'm going to try talking to this thing. I'm going to see how it is. First of all, first thing right off the top, the AI that you talk to in my Samsung phone is like light years better than the Apple Intelligence on my MacBook. And I would say I probably have those two devices on my persons or near me the same amount of time throughout the course of a day. It is no contest. Okay. It is no contest. I know we talked about Apple's AI ambitions and all of that. They're not even close right now. And I've started to ask it questions, and I caught myself thanking it at the end. Thank you, Gemini or Ursa or whatever voice it is. And my thought here is, yeah, it seems silly, but at the same time, if the AI turns on us, at least I will have been nice to it. And maybe I won't be one of the first targets for it. I know that seems silly. It is what it is. Let me know what you folks think about robots here. Really curious. Would love flying cars, but not robots. I'm with you there. Swagger says, if it does laundry and cleans, I'm in. Okay. I need to make a CNA robot. My dad's caretaker sucks. So, Michael, so I know we're kind of joking here with some of that, but there's a real aspect here about helping people that need extra care, whether it's elderly or someone that's hurt or something of that nature. There's a real aspect of this where this could really kind of be helpful. And I don't want to minimize that. I don't want to poo-poo it. I don't want to joke around too much or anything like that. I definitely don't want to minimize it, but it's just, I don't know. I can't help it. I can't help it. This whole thing makes me laugh. This whole interacting with robots thing makes me laugh. Hiring a cleaning service or a maid is probably better and cheaper, and they don't spy on you. So Harris dropping some realism on you right there. With you on that. If it can do all the chores and take up so much of our free time, why not? I can't argue with that. Yes, if I can send it to work for a while and stay home and trade. Not a bad idea right there, right? Have your robot go to work for you. That actually would be a pretty cool feature. No jokes. No joke. Joe saying resistance is futile. The Borg references are going to go on for a number of years. I'm almost certain of that. And then Edom saying customize love bots. I remember seeing articles that 2025 was going to be the year that robots were going to kind of venture into that realm. I'm certainly not ready for that. And you know what? We'll keep this with the family show. We won't really go into that. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see what robots do. And it'll be interesting to see how helpful they are. Reaching Financial Freedom says, I fight with Alexa when she doesn't play my music. See, that's the thing. Like when I select my music without using AI or anything, it doesn't go wrong. It doesn't really go wrong. Okay, let me keep moving on here. I am amused by the robot talk, and I'm sure we can go back to that when you guys have something there. Satya Nadella says, speed, scale, and frequency of cyber attacks are outpacing capabilities of human defenders as Microsoft unveils AI security agents. Okay, so my biggest theme that I had going into this year was going to be cybersecurity. I actually had that rated ahead of health aspects, things like peptides and longevity help and things of that nature. Cybersecurity to me ahead of that. More important, gonna be bigger, and there's more stocks that we can trade. So I'm totally warmed up to this, and obviously Microsoft going to be one of the huge players in this industry. It obviously has tentacles and many other things, so it's not a pure cybersecurity play, but it's not one that we should forget. On Monday, Microsoft announced an expansion of its security co-pilot platform, introducing 6 new AI-powered agents aimed at helping organizations detect, prioritize, and respond to cyber threats more efficiently. That makes complete sense to me. Speed, scale, and frequency of cyber attacks are outpacing the capabilities of human defenders alone. Today, we are expanding Security Copilot with security agents to help address this. So we all kind of knew that AI was going to proliferate in the cybersecurity field. It looks like what Satya is telling us here is that we need AI in order to stay up on this. We simply just cannot do it with human beings alone. I don't think that surprises anybody. Still a little bit light on the details here with all of that. Just say it. These agents will be available in preview next month and are built to handle phishing alerts, data loss incidents, vulnerability monitoring, and more without requiring constant human intervention. The effectiveness of this will really be what's key. If these are effective and don't show false positives and things of that nature, we should be in good shape for this. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of names proliferate here. I am still a huge fan of PanW. I definitely am going to be doing multiple trades on that here the rest of this year, without a doubt. Okay, folks, it's just past 8:30. It's going to be about that time. Let's go ahead and bring on the one and only Red Dog. Scott, good morning, my man. How are you doing here today? First question that I have for you. How about those Maryland Terps, and how's your bracket doing?
That's great. My son's a Maryland fan. One of my best friends from the area went to Maryland, so my son's a loyal fan. He started watching Maryland like when he became friends with his son. They've been best friends since like age 6, so he was watching it so close. And what a great game! Just in general, it's so cool to see. So they won. March Madness is awesome. These kids have been working on their game. They've been putting in the time. They've been doing 2-a-days since they're 5 years old. So to be able to have the spotlight, play in front of a big crowd, and then, just deliver, it's beautiful. I just hope one day for my son Chase, who puts the time in, he has a huge platform to play on one day, and got to start somewhere. Right now as a sophomore in high school, so got to put the work in to get there.
Well, congrats, and I'm sure he's got a good role model there for putting in the work. So really awesome stuff. I'll tell you what, that Derek Queen kid can play, and his response. And how did you handle all the pressure right after this? I'm from Baltimore. Just absolutely awesome, just from start to finish. Awesome. The basketball has been awesome. And Scott, I got another piece of news to share with you. When you had first started coming on here, I had told you that I was really impressed with the push-ups and the cold plunge and just getting yourself physically and mentally ready for the trading day, ahead of the trading day, very early on. I took that very seriously. You told me it was not a spectator sport. Since then, I've been doing push-ups every single day. It has made me feel better. It has made me have more energy throughout the course of the day. And this is perhaps going to make you the happiest. I had a random guy reach out to me because I was posting some of that stuff on Twitter and said, hey, I really appreciate that you did this, and you're going to motivate me to do some push-ups. So your influence is spreading, even if you're not working at it. So keep it up.
There you go. Listen, all I do is, try and package some things so other people could, learn from it and feel good about it. I've been trading, like you've been in this business a long time too. I've been doing this, for 25 plus years. So I figured out a way to package it. Have you ever tuned into the 20 at 520 yet? On the subscribe button?
I have not.
That's another whole, thing. So basically at 5:20 in the morning, I have a sauna workout for 20 minutes where some people have a sauna, some people don't. And you could actually tune in, and I do a 20-minute workout to music. I talk about what I'm seeing, what's going on in the futures, what the narrative is, and, with the level of endorphins high, and do a 20-minute workout, some mobility, some stretching, some weights. I have 20-pound weights in there. If you don't have one, some people use a mat, they use a towel. And, I do it every day now, Monday through Thursday. It's 20 minutes from 5:20 to 5:40. Then I go in the ice barrel. Then I come here, then I do the 6:30 club, and then I do 40 charts for the Alpha team. And then I get on the radio, do their morning call. And it's one big package. And I couldn't do all of that at all if I didn't start the day off on the right foot and win the morning. And we say, win the morning, win the day. So at least control what you can control, which is feeling good. So then we could handle whatever the market throws at us.
I absolutely love that. I don't think enough people focus on that. So I'm going to continue mentioning that. I'm going to continue trying to help
Thanks,
you
Ryan.
get more people doing that stuff. All right. Scott, do you want to share your charts? Do you want me to drive here today? I got a number of things I want to ask you about.
Yeah. Let me see how I present here, right? With this little arrow. Hold on. Present. Yep, there we go. All right. So, you could, let's see. Are you showing that chart yet?
Yeah, let me put it on the screen here real quick. And also, by the way, download Scott's free ebook to see his #1 spot to buy and get his free indicator that alerts you. QR code on the screen, link in the chat. Scott, what do you got for us here today?
All right, so here's a spies. It's been a hard tape. I'll be honest with you. I'm actually not at the highs of my month. I'm not at the highs of my quarter. I got beat up a little bit in some predatory misdirection type trade, but I'm rebuilding. So on Friday, when you had that that kind of down open where it felt like we were going to retest the lows, and then we
Mhm.
reclaimed areas. There were some clues to kind of be long for a trade. So that was right here, this candle on Friday. So, we know the red dog reversal. That's when you reclaim a level. It reclaimed 559. So sellers didn't have the power to keep it below 561. Sellers didn't have the power to keep it below. So that at least gave you some clues not to be cajones to the wall short coming into yesterday. If anything, there were some stocks that gave you some clues to nibble a little bit because they finally rebuilt and closed well before this. So some people like, what clues do you look for? Well, first we go to Palantir, right? We talk about moving averages. If you go to that QR code, I talk a lot about moving averages and risk on, risk off. I think that also talks about the power plays. Palantir on Friday, what did that do? Look at that candle right there. It cleared a lower level, so that was no longer deemed a bear flag, and it got back above the moving averages. So right there, that's all you needed to know about that stock and maybe put some risk on. So that was something that I took on Friday into Monday, and people asked me why. That's why. And yesterday, you had a nice move, and I got smaller because I use a tier system. You have to
Mhm.
spend money to make a living. And then now today, I think Palantir is up a little bit. I'll trim a little bit more. I think maybe 100-ish is where it can go. So what I like to do is map out areas on what's the easy bounce and what will be tougher and what maybe you want to take the other side of the trade. So not saying we need to short into the 100 area, but that's going to be a hard spot to get through. So I'm already going to start trimming a little bit, into that spot. And then you had Tesla, right? Everyone has been bantering about Tesla, corrected 50% off the highs, and it did. And I kind of was out of the way most of the time on the way down. Every now and then I tried to, catch a little bounce that suffocated you. I think we tried
Mhm.
it a few different times. And then finally, right here, became a focus for the alpha team again and Redler All Access. I said, hey guys, look how tight this is. Then you had everyone just bashing the hell out of it. Elon went, spoke to his employees and said, hold your
Mhm.
stock. And he tried to give some confidence because he's been just doing Doge and doing stuff with Trump, and he hasn't done a lot with Tesla. So finally, he kind of like brought it back home. And then on Friday, when the market was really weak, it showed relative strength for really the first time in a while. That's why you always want to stick and watch, even if you're not in your go-to list. You want to watch and see the way it behaves. And finally, it behaved really well. So I got long on Friday, stayed in long all day. Yesterday was in all day. I trimmed a bunch, and then
Excellent.
today, the news that European registrations are down. It was down $4. And then before I even walked into the office, it already turned green and it's up 5, into this area. So I've already reduced a little bit more. This is one spot was a target 290. And then some people think it can get towards 320, 325. But I would think into this area, you definitely would rather be a seller than a buyer. It doesn't mean you need to be shorted, but it'll be trickier. So anyway, Tesla and Palantir were just, examples of using technical analysis, having your go-to list, knowing the way it looks and feels and smells and tastes. I actually can't
Mhm.
taste Tesla, but anyway, and making some decisions and adjusting because, there were guys who were like, Red Dog, the only reason why we rallied on Friday was because of OpEx and the flow. So I'm going short. So if you went short at the end of the day, Apple and Microsoft, because that's where a lot of the flows were, or even the spies or the Qs, you got hurt yesterday. And if you
Mhm.
didn't cover yesterday, now all of a sudden, everyone's probably like, oh, why is the spies up again today? They're up at, another $1.60. And, so it's that the fine line on whether or not you lose a little or lose a lot, or make a little or make a lot, or just get in rhythm. Like sometimes you just need to get back in rhythm with the tape, and then, the money will come.
I love it. And we all know how fast Tesla can move in both directions here. Not at all surprised to see you hitting that curl there at the bottom. I like your 290 target there. I almost wonder if you move above 290 and then kind of back test it and hold it, does that set up another long trigger for you?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
now it's got a rhythm. Right now, it's like a football game. It's like, different sides have the ball. The active Bears had the ball this entire time. Here, the active Bulls took the ball back, and now it's kind of theirs to lose. But you have to measure the defensive stance each time. Do we get first downs? Is it 4th and 1? This and that. not saying it's football season. We should be talking basketball.
No,
But anyway,
I was just thinking to myself, I was like, I love this guy, man. I'm itching for football. It's a month to the draft, and he's out here making football references with the stocks. This is what I needed to get me through the off season here. Another couple of stocks I wanted to ask you about. How about Amazon? We've seen some pretty big moves here with Amazon. I know 200 was a huge level. Looks like we're have reclaimed that. What do you think here on Amazon? What's the chart telling you?
I like it. I think there's room to like this 210-ish area. Like Tesla's got room to 290. The SPYs have room to 580. Like this to me has room to 210. There's a whole void here. I didn't actually come in long Amazon yesterday. I bought it pre-market thinking this descending channel was going to get cleared. I bought it around 199.5. I still have it. What's Amazon doing this morning? Amazon, it's up 88 cents. It's at 204. So what I do is I'll trim a little bit and hold a little bit. There was some news out of Baba talking about how AI and the data center is a bubble. So maybe, Amazon obviously has a big business with data centers that, it holds it back a little bit. But I personally am constructive, and I think that this bounce could take it a little bit further up. I'd like to continue to try and stay with it. But then right around, this is 210-ish. That'll be a problem. So you have a void here where if the market wants to continue higher, I think that there's room for Amazon to continue higher.
Okay, good stuff there. Love Amazon. Also wanted to ask you about NVIDIA. I know NVIDIA has been one of the market darlings here. Qs move a lot with whatever NVIDIA does. What does your chart here say on NVIDIA? God, that looks like that's trying to tease a breakout here.
I know. To be honest, I'm long it now. It's down 80 cents while the futures are up. I hate being long something that's down while the market's up. It's showing a little relative weakness. NVIDIA is always better when it leads the tape. Same way Tesla is usually better when it leads the tape, so it's lagging. I don't know. Like yesterday, I said, hey, guys, sellers are going to try and sell NVIDIA because it's the only thing they could do in order to stop this gap and go, and they couldn't. So maybe they're trying it again. So if you look at NVIDIA is down 80 cents this morning, which isn't the end of the world. Could you see the level 2 there, Ryan? I don't know.
I sure can.
So it's showing a little relative weakness. If NVIDIA goes from down 80 cents to green, takes out 122.20 and 122.89, I got to believe that the SPYs are going to end up being up $3 today. If all of a sudden, the SPYs go from up $1.70 and start to fade and don't hold yesterday's highs, this can go from, being down 80 cents and it could break 119.30, and that'll be my out. Right now I'm in it. I'm hoping it could do better. All you can ask for is setups in this tape. And right now it's just, it's lagging a little bit. And I think there's like buyers higher. If all of a sudden the sellers lose, it could go fast, but that hasn't shown that it could do that yet. First step would be above 122.20, then 122.89, and then that would bring you up towards 125. So I'm long there. I added a little bit this morning, but then it didn't move when the SPYs went from down $1 to up $1.50. So I kind of took that off because I want to just be a little bit, I don't want to get caught in the one name that doesn't work. That's always not a lot of fun.
Yeah, it seems like there are other better targets anyway if NVIDIA is not going to participate here. Folks, we are with Scott Redler here, Red Dog. Download Scott's free ebook to see his #1 spot to buy. Get his free indicator that alerts you. QR codes on the screen. I put the link in the chat there as well. Thank you, producer. Red Dog, I'll get you out of here on this. Tell me about Bitcoin. Are you trading Bitcoin? Did you buy it on the pullback here? Are you waiting for a specific level? What are you seeing here in Bitcoin?
Well, actually, we did a power play last week. Last week I bought options because I was like, you know what? I feel like if the market's going to bounce, Bitcoin is acting better. Mister's been acting better. So we put on the $49 calls. And yesterday, Michael sent out an email to sell half because, it was up a lot. So right here from this to that was nice. I'm also, this morning, actually last night when Bitcoin was lower, IBIT, I bought a little bit more of the IBIT. So now I have half my options on because since I sold half, now I'm in some of the actual ETF. I don't know. I'm not going to use 49.59 as a stop. That's kind of weird because there's just a big gap here. I feel like it's a little different. You got to give it some room. I really wouldn't want to see it go below 49-ish. If it does, then it gets a little choppier. So I do think, the highs of the year are not in for crypto, for Bitcoin, not crypto in general. I'm more, I don't trade the altcoins anymore. I used to do that, a while ago. Bitcoin is what I stick with, the ETF. And look at Mister changed. Mister finally started to get coiled here, and I was long Mister also on MSTU. I sold it a little bit early, but for now, broke this downtrend. It's holding better. Usually it's a good leading indicator for Bitcoin also. Remember, during this move, Mr. would be up when Bitcoin was down, and Mr. would be up a hell of a lot more when Bitcoin was up. Now it's starting to act better again. So, but at this point, I don't think, if you're not in Mr., is this a spot to add? Probably not. You kind of missed it, but I do think that it's moved up on my radar. So I do think crypto, IBIT and Mr. are the two. You don't need to be trading Mara and Riot and those miners to me are just so damn hard. So the market's hard enough. So you want to maybe make it a little easier on yourself. So Mr. and IBIT, I think all you need to trade if you're looking for an equity equivalent to Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely love that. I haven't had much luck with the miners either. MSTR, I like that you call it Mr. I can't tell if it's strategy or micro strategy or what the hell they're doing with the name. So Mr. works for me. I'll probably go with that. This is a really good, clear break-in trend here on that. Okay, folks, download Scott's free ebook to see his #1 spot to buy. Scan that QR code. Red Dog, awesome stuff yet again. Thanks very much for joining us. Any closing words for the group here?
Just listen, the market fell pretty fast. A lot of people were off sides in the first quarter. There were some ways to navigate it, and it hasn't been easy. So, if you're looking at Twitter and you feel like the world's making money and you're in a little bit of a hole, it's probably not true. The Twitter life and the social media life is different than reality. So try and just de-stress yourself, get yourself situated. If you're in a hole, what I do usually is I simplify it. I bring risk down, and then I just try and get green. And then once you get green, you start making money. Once you start making money, you start adding more size, and then you're feeling better. And then boom, like, wow, I'm out of my hole. So just, take small steps. Small steps are good. And at this point, everyone's always like, Red Dog, is the lows of the year in? Like right now, that's not the focus. The focus is, where could this bounce go? And then what would be the signals if we put in a lower high to then retrace, and then we see where that goes. And I'll leave you that with the spies. So I did come up with this, where I do think that, maybe the spies could see this 580, 585 area before you're really worried about macro sellers coming in. There's not much this week. If Trump wanted to talk about tariffs, he could have done it yesterday and thrown some curveballs. He didn't. It's supposed to be targeted. So I do think the pain trade, in my opinion, is more into this area, because a lot of people don't have as much risk on as they had multiple weeks ago.
Okay. Real good stuff there. Red Dog, if I don't talk to you next Tuesday, good luck with Liberation Day. We'll check in with how all these charts shook out the next time. Thanks very much for your time, my man.
Oh, thanks for having me.
That is Scott Redler from T3. Again, folks, he's been doing this for a long time. He is super sharp, and he has a very kind of mechanical process. I absolutely love the getting started in the morning, getting yourself centered and ready to go. That has been working for me, and I'm going to keep promoting that here. So really awesome stuff there. Again, scan that QR code. We're very thankful of Scott joining us here on Pre-Market Playbook. Now, Scott's departure leaves room for the one and only 13. We're going to go ahead and do that, or get him on here, I should say. 13, good morning, my man. How are you doing here today?
I'm doing just fine. How's everybody this morning?
We're doing good, dude. We are doing good. Where do you want to start here today? You want to start with some of those movers? We got plenty of time again. We got a market that went red-green. We've got Tesla that went red-green. We've got all types of stuff going on. Where do you want to start?
Let's get those movers out of the way.
All right.
There's a list that there's a list of there's a couple that were over 100%. We can start with those.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to call an audible here. We're going to start with VVPR, because Rustam was actually as far as I'm aware, from when I took a look at the chat, Rustam was the first comment here today. He wanted to take a look at VVPR. This is Vivo Power International. This is definitely going to be one of your movers. This popped yesterday midday on volume here. And what was going on? They received a non-binding all-cash takeover for $120 million. Now, we're holding up here, but this stock still moved around. Is there anything left on this is really the question.
So in happy hour chat at yesterday, as soon as it started moving, I mentioned that it was getting taken over, and I traded some of this to the upside. So caught some of this already. Yeah, exactly. But I posted it in chat. So
around here.
So this should have been seen by a number of other people, but Anyway, yeah, this is getting taken over. It's 120 million. It says 120 million dollar buyout offer. That's based off the enterprise value. So when I started seeing this run, I was like, okay, well, that's about 3 times the enterprise value. So let's say that it starts around 111 where it started running. Let's say it goes to $3. So I was only I didn't want to I didn't want to risk too much, so I took it off the table once it blew through 2, and then I just went on and did some other stuff. But look at this where it went after that. It went to $4, almost 5. As far as a trade today, I really don't know, because I think a lot of this move has already happened, because this didn't happen at the end of the day or after hours. This was in the middle of the day.
That's right.
And I think this was. And I'm not sure if this was out of a halt or not, but it just, once it took off and it started going up to these crazy heights, I think that might have been most of the move. I don't know for sure though, because I haven't looked at the buyout text. I haven't done any due diligence on it. I just did some napkin math real quick and thought, hey, maybe $3 is a good spot to call this, and it went higher.
So here you go. So first of all, kudos to you for trading that in the moment there. It's one of the things that Benzinga Pro can do. I'm not necessarily sure exactly what alerted you to it, but there are plenty of ways to get alerted to those types of things here. Real quick, just by looking at the PR here, the board members of Vivo Power have acknowledged the receipt of the proposal from Energy, are in the process of reviewing it with its advisors, and will provide an update to the market as soon as possible. So it seems to me, at least from the PR here, that they're looking into this. We'll see if they're going to end up doing this. Nothing is for sure yet. The stock traded up 150% yesterday. It says it's down 13% here today just because of where it closed. If we take a look intraday at what's going on here, I could actually see this getting traded again. Really, 250 to me, as long as it holds 250, it probably is going to have some type of bullish action. We'll see if we can get above the VWAP there and then maybe go for some of those highs. 354 all seem fairly normal. We'll see if VVPR gets rolling here, but that's the news catalyst that's driving this. This was from yesterday, midday.
And if you want, on a smaller time frame, you could draw a trend line that needs to get broken here. So you got that.
It's jumping out at me, baby. Jumping out.
So that would be, and I don't know how much is left in this, but, with the move already happening in the middle of the day yesterday, I can't imagine that there's, a lot more left on the bone here. But, like I said, I didn't read into, the deal, and I don't know exactly what's going on. I just did napkin math and thought it was a quick in and out trade, and that's all I did. Maybe this does keep going if we break this trend. I just don't know.
Okay, well, we're going to be prepared for whatever hand the market deals us today. 250 downside. I like the trend line here, and then some of those other levels. Ticker VVPR. There you go, Rustam. Please tell me you didn't just step away for that sec. He comes back and he's like, hey, did you guys cover this? I'm going to be like,
back
WTF.
it up.
Yeah,
run it back.
Back it up, run it back. Okay, moving on with the list here. We're going to do TNON. This is going to be the big mover of the day here. And I'm just going to say this. We're going to go through all of this stuff here, but I'm just going to say this. It feels to me like somebody got caught in this one. Somebody probably got caught in this one here this morning. I'll let you figure that out. TNON, and we've actually traded TNON before. Again, ticker here is TNON. I'm calling it TNON. That's also happens to be the name of the company. TNON Medical shares are trading higher on possible continued strength after the company announced yesterday that it has received FDA 510K clearance for its Catamaran St. Joint Fusion System, ST Joint Fusion Systems. I almost said St. John's there. Thankfully, I didn't go that route. So, okay, so we got a PR here about a joint fusion system. This stock is absolutely cooking here today. Ripped, went right through the 195 area. We have identified this, I believe, from the last time that we traded it. Yeah, this was from March 11th, the last time this thing really came on here. Got that 195 level. That 195 level did almost nothing here today. I know we were kind of trading around it for a little bit in the pre-market, but we waved goodbye to that and took several other moves higher here. Looks like this thing topped just above $6 before coming back. We're still over $1 away from the VWAP. So frankly, I'd really like for this to come back in and maybe kind of hold that VWAP area. We'll see if we can get that. Short interest here, looking around the board, 5.41% of the float shorted with 1.5 days to cover. Like I was just saying, it felt like somebody got caught off guard. Maybe this is not going to be a multi-day squeeze, but it sure did feel like, oh man, this thing just really kind of like over ripped, maybe on short covering there. I'm just speculating. Here's your actual short interest as of the last print. Float 3.07 million. All right, 13. What do you think on this one? I know it's up 366%. So part of me also wonders if there's even going to be another trade here today with this being so extended. What do you think? Before you even ask, yes, I'm ready for your crazy levels if that's what's called for on this name.
Well, fortunately for you, I do have a bunch of levels to the upside here on this one because we have traded this before. It has hit these levels before, and it just continues to trade lower over time. But this clearance for the catamaran joint fusion system, what's nice about this clearance is that it was 510K clearance, 510K clearance. And what that means is that there's a device that's already on the market that's being used. And this device that they are trying to get approval on is very similar to that. So it's not going to require it's not going to require any additional clinical trials. This is a pre-market approval clearance, so it doesn't. In order to get that approval, it has to go through clinical trials. So this is a new device, but since this is similar to one that's already on the market, it can. It's already been demonstrated that it's very similar, and it doesn't have to go through those clinical trials. So this saves it a lot of money, and I think that's another reason why you could be seeing some movement like this, because the 2 3/4 of cash that it has it might be able to get pushed out further because they don't have to go through that process of proving that their medical device works, since they already have one this is already one that's on the market that's very similar. So that's what I've got for Tenon. 2 3/4 cash. Where this goes, we've cleared this 440 level that I had marked off here just now. That was a support turn resistance level. And now we're trading back over where we were just a moment ago. If we can get back above 440 and hold above that, $6 would be the next level I'd be looking for to capture.
Okay, there we go. We already tested that $6 level here this morning. We'll see if we get back up there. We are making an orderly move back down here. I'd love to see this 355 at the VWAP. Unsure if we'll get there. We shall see. Okay, I don't see it on the list here, but we might as well mention it because it was a big mover yesterday. Let's take a look at MLGO. Here's your huge move yesterday. Boy, oh boy, this was the stock du jour yesterday. Stock right from the open went from about $3 to a high of almost 17 in the after hours. Just a huge rip. Now we're still elevated here today. As we always do, I'm going to recommend that you be extremely careful with this name here, especially with this being as extended as it was yesterday. Looks like it's on its way, back in a little bit. And although we didn't hold it, we did actually lose this pre-market low, which also represents the after hours low yesterday. So really don't want to see it back beneath there. We'll see if we get back down to that 955 spot that we identified. It did kind of consolidate middle of the day around there. But MLGO, if nothing else, a relative volume play here today, or at least there are going to be some traders looking at this one. Down 11% here. Careful with this one. 13, you got any game plan for MLGO today?
Where is it? Okay, so it's above 12 right now, it looks like. So
I got it at 1235.
Yeah, so 12 on this chart looks like a very important level of support that needs to hold, because if we lose it, then we're likely going to go back down to the next area of consolidation, which is around 10, give or take 80 cents, that consolidation from about noon to almost close yesterday. That's what I'm looking at in terms of support. We also have some moving averages, I think, on the way down. Let me just take a look real quick. So we have the 200 EMA on the 5-minute that's beneath where the price is at. That's going to be at 1091. So there could be another early area of support if we lose this $12 handle. MLGO, This was a clear short squeeze. I mean, we identified that earlier yesterday.
Good.
This thing just continued to squeeze. It even squeezed when it was getting that offering news. The short squeezers were just like, nah, it's fine. Let's keep going. So that's what happened all through. I mean, this thing went from this thing did a 4x.
The offering news, by the way, that was talked about on Friday of last week, right? They look to issue shares at 80 cents per share, and then we actually got that news yesterday.
Yeah.
Sold off a little bit on that, but we had seen that before, ended up ramping there. Okay, anyway, finish up here, MLGO.
Yeah, so I think we might see a lot more cooling off in this one today.
All right. And I'd really watch for it to break this now down almost 13%. We'll see. The other thing we've seen about these, sometimes these that are just really, really hot the day before, you have the next day, they just get pounded all day and there's just no trade there. But sometimes these things come back in and then all of a sudden volume finds it and ends up popping it. We'll see which direction MLGO goes here today. Okay, really good stuff here this morning. Next one on the list is going to be POAI. This is predictive oncology. Stock was up just above $1 yesterday. We actually traded close to 3 here this morning in the pre-market. Catalyst here, predictive oncology shares are trading higher after the company announced it developed predictive models from 21 compounds from the Natural Products Discovery Care at the University of Michigan Life Sciences Institute. Okay, so it's a mouthful there, but it looks like company announced it developed predictive models, so it looks like it's advancing here. Huge move, plus 106% right now. Let's take a look around the horn at some of the stats on the stock. 7.22% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Definitely has some short interest in there, but it does. I mean, that can get covered up in a day very easily here. Float just over 7 million at 7.097 million. 13. What do you think here on POAI? Think we got a trade on this one today?
We might. I think if one of the things I would like to see is this take out 275 and hold above it. We've had a couple of attempts to do that already this morning, and so far have not been successful. Got as high as 283 on the earliest attempts, and haven't been able to get back above there since, despite another attempt. We might, if we break this VWAP here in pre-market, we might even try again. But I think when it comes to this company, there was news that came out earlier this year about them merging with Renovaro. That ticker is RENB, and
which we've traded here before, by the way, RENB.
Yeah. So POAI, they have about a quarter of cash, and I was concerned about that. So I started looking, and I saw that they're merging with RENB, and part of that merger includes RENB raising $15 million that they're going to make in payments to POAI as part of the merger agreement. When they do merge, they're going to have a 1-for-1 exchange with preferred shares being issued by RNB that the shareholders of POAI will receive.
Okay.
So that's what's going on with POAI. There's more news coming later. They were supposed to have made this merger happen by now, but I think POAI is making the move to start getting that close, because it should have happened by the end of February, and so it's taking a little bit longer of time. So we may get a headline pretty soon at some maybe next quarter with POAI and RENB having finalized their merger.
Okay. One thing to keep in mind here, POAI, in the pre-market here, we've actually made consecutive lower highs. Stock has come back into its VWAP. It's really kind of held its VWAP here at 217. That's definitely what we want to see. If we break down here, I've almost got 168 as the level. That would be a meeting of the 65 EMA on the 5-minute, which is at 167, as well as one of the impulse high candles, one of these wicks that kind of stopped right there. So that 167, 168 looks like a support area. If it breaks, we'll obviously watch the VWAP first here, watch what happens around that $2 level as well. Real quick here, just cleaning up some of the chat. Good morning, Jay Rice. Great to see you here again. Let me know what you've got on your list here today. Easy Java, good morning. I appreciate this. MLGO shorts are done, so it likely goes down today. MLGO CEO owns 80% of the shares. That would explain why it has such just crazy movement when we've taken a look at this. Good stuff there, though. Easy Java. And then another question here. We'll actually go back to this. I do want to finish. Jaquimi, you're asking about NVIDIA. Is it good for a trade? Maybe. Let's talk about NVIDIA here in a little bit. I want to let you know. We're going to get to that. I asked Red Dog about that. He had a really good take on it that I agree with. Let me finish some of these movers here, and then we'll go. We'll actually start with NVIDIA there. Let me add this to the list just to make sure I don't totally screw this up. Because I often do that. All right. Next here on the list is going to be ticker DM. This is Desktop Metals, and it looks like this is going right now on some news. Desktop Metals says Delaware Court of Chancery. I almost said sorcery, and I had to catch myself there. Court of Chancery ordered Nano Dimensions to complete the Desktop Metal merger. Okay, now I don't remember what some of those merger stats were. So I probably have to go through this. This is breaking right now. This PR came 7 minutes ago. This is currently trading here. Yep. Go ahead.
The company they're talking about is the ticker is NNDM, and that is taking a nosedive right now.
Okay, interesting. Not a whole lot listed in here. I'll be honest with you. I need to do some research. I don't even know what chancery means. Not going to lie. So I should probably educate myself on that before I make a decision here. This stock, though, ticker DM, just absolutely ripping here, up 115%. Looks like this has got a 5 magnet in it. The other one was NMDM. What was the ticker? Good Lord.
It's Nancy, Dr. Mom.
There we go. NNDM, Nano Dimensions. I appreciate that. Here you go. So you're right. So this getting pounded here on that news, down 13.5%. So Delaware Court says they have to do this merger. NNDM doesn't like it. DM does like it.
I don't know if it's that NNDM doesn't like it. You might be right about that, but it's if this is if it's a merger where Desktop Metal is getting bought by NNDM, then yeah, you're going to see the share price tank because that's cash leaving their company.
Does anyone remember what the deal is for this one?
I was thinking about that when we were talking about it, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. I might be able to look that up when we get some more time here, but I don't remember. Nonetheless, stock's popping here. Looks like it did kind of slow down just shy of 5. I kind of want to know that target just so I know what to expect or have an idea of what to expect. But that's what's going on here. That's so breaking while we were talking.
Yeah. So what's going on here is that the litigation or the merger agreement was from July 2nd last year, and the court had just found that Nano Dimension materially breached the merger agreement and rejected their counterclaims. So July 2nd is about where I guess you're going to find the merger agreement. I just would have to you have to give me a second to look it up, but
yeah, and I'll try to do the same thing. July 2nd, we'll try to just go to the you know what? We wanted press releases, not SEC filings. My bad. This should actually make it a little bit easier to scroll. Indeed, it does. Here's July 3rd. Nano Dimensions to acquire Desktop Metals, creating a leader in additive manufacturing.
So ultimately,
at $5.50 per share, the transaction represents a 27.3 premium. Bang!
All right,
$5.50 per share. That's going to be one of your upside levels there.
Yeah, and we're not there yet. So
and no shock that it stopped just shy of 5. This guy says, I've been in DM for like 4 years now, and finally,
all right,
unload those bags, baby. Man, you it might not even be a bag; it might just be up, but it feels like a bag if you've been carrying a piece of junk for that many years. Looking at you, Portillo's. We'll get into that another time. Anyway, congratulations to you, this guy. Really good stuff there on this pop here. Ticker DM, Desktop Metal. Okay, there were a couple more here I think that we should cover before we get back to ticker time and some of the big boys. We got, 18 minutes? I'll be quick here. Next one here is going to be ALMS. This is Alumis. Alumis shares are trading higher after the company announced a dermatology collaboration deal with Kaken Pharmaceuticals for ESK 001. So that's popping the stock here up 58%, 7.88% of the float shorted with 13.4 days to cover. We got a squeeze candidate on our hands here. Float about 37.3 million shares in the float. This stock does have coverage, and the coverage is universally pretty good. Let me see if I can eyeball some of those price targets there for you. Looks like what? 15, 19, 19, 19, 19, 32. That 32 is from the beginning of this year. Same with the 26s. So this thing has some room to run here, at least based on some of these price targets. Now, they are from Wainwright. The one from Cantor is 0, and the one from Oppenheimer is 32. So what do you got here on this one, 13?
Well, everything looks good except for their financials. I mean, this company is losing a lot of money, like tens of millions every quarter. And, this 40 million collab deal, that's great, but it doesn't even, cover half of what they lose in a quarter. So I'm just a little concerned about, how they're managing their money. I mean, that's really the only concern I have. I mean, their balance sheet has 170 million on it, and they're losing 95 million a quarter. Let's trade this thing, and then we can not look at it ever again if we want.
Okay. Well, this thing's doing a pretty decent retracement. Looks like a 50% retracement from the highs. So we'll see here on ALMS.
It did lose a lot of money in 2024. It was so in the last year in 2023, it lost 155. Last year, 294.2 million it lost. Wow. So it's a cash losing machine. I'm a little bit concerned about that. So that's why, for me, if I do trade this at all, it's going to be a day trade, and then I'm not going to look at it probably ever again. Okay.
There you go. At least you have a plan. At least you have a plan. Plan your trade, trade your plan. You've got one. Good stuff there. Okay. Did you have any more on the list here? Did you cover DATS or STFS?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So I'm just going to, I'm basically just going to really quickly go through these. I don't know how much there is that we actually need to cover. We'll see if these end up getting any traction when the market opens here. Ticker DATS, Delta Alpha Tango Sierra. I got it right, just in case Staff Sergeant Ryan is out there. Dat Chat shares are trading higher after the company announced its Mycium social media platform is available on Apple, iOS, and Android. I've never heard of this social media platform. Don't know what to make of this. Stock did pop as high as 360, has come back in, lost the VWAP, trying to make a move here. Real quickly, short interest on this, 6.22% with 1 day to cover and a float here of 3.94 million. So this does kind of fit into the group of stocks that we trade often. We'll see if this has anything here. Again, if you know anything about Mycium, let me know. I don't. So we'll just we'll take a look and see what the stock actually does. And this other one, STFS, don't even think I've ever pulled this ticker up before. Star Fashion Culture, looks like this popped almost as high as 180 in the after hours today. And let's see if I go back to the All tab here. I don't have any news on this. So real quick, short interest on this one, 6.52% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover, 1.09 days to cover, 3.95 million. Again, another low float stock, kind of fits into that whole theme. I'm not really sure there's a whole lot going on there. MGRX, this is Mango Cuticles. It looks like this is popping. Is this on news right now? Indeed it is. Boy, so the 9 a.m. news drops happening here today. Mango Cuticles expands into a $33 billion addressable diabetes market through its exclusive rights to market and sell patented and clinically proven diabetinol in the U.S. and Canada. Okay, so getting a nice little PR there. Stock's up 24.2%. On the back of that, real quick look at the short interest here. 2% of the float shorted, 2.01% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. And that float, again, same deal here. All low float. These are all right around 3 million shares. All of these movers here under about 5 million shares. Okay. That's pretty much all I had here. Let's see. KBSX, that popped and came all the way back in. FFAI, Faraday Future. Do we really even need to cover this? I mean, we talk about this one all the time. BBAI is making some headway here today, so I'm sure we'll take a look at that one. And then also DJT here is popping. Catalyst here, Trump Media and Technology Group shares are trading higher after the company signed a non-binding agreement to partner with Crypto.com and launch a series of ETFs through Truth by Brand. hopefully they get their texting figured out.
That
That's what's going on with DGT. Yeah, get in there.
Yeah, that DJT chart, I'd be careful with that. That looks bearish to me.
Okay, there you go.
Look at zoom into that consolidation there from this morning. You see that?
I can actually hide the drawing to make it a little bit easier to see as well.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me, does that look a little bit like it's topped out there with a bit of a head and shoulders pattern?
It does. It does look like a head and shoulders on the 5 minute. I tend not to put too much stock into those, but with this one, anything. I'll take a look at anything here.
Yeah, so I guess what we can lean on is let's see if it gets back above VWAP. If it does, then we might be able to invalidate this thing. But if it doesn't, then I think we're going to see a resolution.
Okay. All right, let's get over, talk about some of those bigger stocks. But first, before we do that, we are going to absolutely handle ATL Russ's question here. Could you guys please explain short interest one day? Yes, I know we talk about this every day. We've explained it before, but you're right. We should probably just at least give a cursory reminder. So short interest, people look at this data differently. Some people think short interest represents the raw number of shares short. Some people believe it is the percent of float shorted. Some people believe it's the days to cover. It's all of those things. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, it is all of those things. So those are all different metrics here. What we're looking at, so first of all, short interest, the raw short interest. This is very, very simple. It's probably the simplest of all three of these. It is literally how many shares are held short of the outstanding shares. That's it. Now, percent of float shorted is those amount of shares held short as a percentage of its float. It's the shares that anyone can go buy on the open market. The higher this is, the more of those existing shares are being held short. So you can infer then that with more people being short, if the stock starts to move to the upside, those shorts might be liable to cover. Now, of course, we don't know what their risk profile is or any of that. So we're just making some inferences and assumptions in here. And be careful when you assume. But in any case, generally speaking, the higher that percent of float short number, the harder it's going to be to cover. That's how I would say it. Now, the other factor that we bring in there, and 13 and I focus on this a lot. I don't believe that this is a primary focus of most people on FinTwit, but I don't want to speak for everybody. The other one is days to cover. Now, days to cover here, this is a calculation on how many market days it would take to cover up all of that raw short interest. So again, just to use numbers here, on DJT, 11.53 million shares of its outstanding stock is held short. In order to cover all 11.53 million shares, it would take about 2.48 days. This is calculated based on the average volume. So this doesn't mean that it's going to take at least 2.48 days. There's no way it can get covered up quicker than that. What this is telling you is that, hey, based on what it does on average, it's actually going to take a couple of days for this to get covered. The higher that number, the higher the likelihood of a short squeeze as we traditionally know them. Some values that I kind of go by here, generally speaking, anything over 10% of the float shorted, I consider notable, but really it's going to be that days to cover. If that days to cover is over 5 or over 10, it almost, I don't want to say it doesn't matter how much percent of the float shorted, but it almost matters a little bit less. If that number is really high, it's likely that if this does start to incur a short squeeze, this could be more than just the session that we're in. 13, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Nope.
Okay, there you go. Okay, here and Jonathan's bringing up a really key point here. Days to cover is at an average volume. Yeah. That calculation, that value is based off of the average volume. When the squeeze actually happens, the volume is much higher than that. That is also why you sometimes hear me say, hey, the average volume is X, but so far today we've traded Y. And the goal there is that obviously if something happens, if there's an event or a piece of news that happens, it's likely going to cause those shorts to either reassess their position or just straight up cover their position. Russ, let me know if that is a sufficient explanation for you. Now, we do have 8 minutes left. Let me move over here to the chart tool, and we're going to start with ticker NVDA. Jaquimi, I hope that you're still out there. So a couple of things here with NVIDIA. I'm just going to start where Red Dog left off because I think his comment here probably one of the best for the day. He had mentioned that NVIDIA kind of diverged from the market here. And what he means by that is that NVIDIA is actually down here in the pre-market by 0.68%. Well, the market, S&P futures are up 0.25%. So, and NASDAQ futures are up also 0.25%. And furthermore, if we take a look at the Qs, the intraday chart, the Qs actually started going lower when the pre-market opened today and then went green. So we actually had a red-green move on the QQQ here today already. And NVIDIA did not participate. It tried, but it did not participate in that. So we have some relative weakness here to the market. So your initial question earlier was going to be, is this good to trade today? That's kind of a loaded question because I don't know if you're trying to trade it short, long, or what your risk profile is or any of that stuff. I would imagine this is going to continue to move with the market here today. But the one thing to keep in mind here, I think that there are probably some better longs here. For example, I think Tesla, at least where we sit here right now, probably better to trade here. We had a report that they canceled the full self-driving thing in China. Not good for Tesla stock. Tesla really traded down. But that too has gone red-green here in the pre-market. So I think of these two, Tesla's probably better. Should you stay away from NVIDIA? I mean, no. It's still one of the bellwethers. It's still one of the really important stocks, but it is showing us some relative weakness here today. You got anything on NVIDIA that you want to mention?
We were getting asked about why Broadcom was not running with the rest of the market. And I think what you were talking about with some of these other semi names, they're all seemingly going sideways right now in the pre-market, at least. AMD is doing the same thing. NVIDIA looked like they were kind of going, a little bit of oscillation when the market was weaker earlier in the morning, but kind of sideways now. A lot of sideways action in these semi names. So just we wanted to point that out. We're just kind of seeing some consolidation mostly in those in that space.
Here, Jay, adding to this, Apple and NVIDIA particularly are so big that they become a source of funds for the big boys. So, and then the other point that you were making there regarding NVIDIA, let me go back here and let me actually go to a daily chart. So the relative weakness that we're seeing here today is one thing. Let me hide the, oh, come on. Thank you. Looking at this chart here, we've made a move off the low. That was the low end of the parallel channel, right? We found some resistance here at the 20-day. We kind of traded beneath it. Now we've popped above it. You can make a case that this is going to try some of these moving averages above it. I got 126.26 as the 50 there and 127.78 as the 200-day there. Yeah, if this thing gets strong, we should watch some of those areas here. But again, I'm almost thinking that there's an equally likely possibility that this stock rolls over, retests the 117.33 to the downside, and then maybe rolls over. I will say this candle yesterday, I know it's small here, did look like a hammer. But not yesterday, excuse me, the day before. This is from Friday. So along with the rest of the market, we'll see if this comes back in here, NVDA. Also, by the way, with the RSI here, kind of in no man's land, basically right in the midpoint there at 50.
Yeah, I mean, I still am thinking that the death cross in NVIDIA is very meaningful, and let's just wait and see what happens, because we are trying to get back over a trend line in NVIDIA as well. If you want to draw it yourself, you can draw it using the April 19th and August 5th lows from last year.
I had it on there, just had it hidden for the sake of everyone's sanity. Being able to see the damn candles.
It's too early for spaghetti, I get it. But yeah, so it's got to recapture that trend line. It's got to get above the 50-day SMA. It's got a lot of work ahead of it if it's going to turn bullish. And I'm still really concerned about this death cross, which is the first crossing of the 50-day SMA and the 200 since January last year. So I think that carries some significance. I'm still thinking we could see some more downside here in NVIDIA.
Okay. All right, real good stuff there. Let's see, we've got just under 3 minutes here. Is there another stock that y'all folks want to take a look at? Look at Lunar. Robert, good morning. It's great to see you here again. Hopefully you're doing well. Lunar, so here we go. We actually talked about Lunar. Got a great question from Happy Hour yesterday. Clarence, if you're out there, I know you were asking on the Happy Hour. Yep. Lunar, first of all, we have a full resolution of the head and shoulders pattern. We came down, found some support right at the 500-day. We actually recaptured it. We're trying to break through that now. To me, This $10 level, I can't even believe it, but $10 exactly is right where your 200-day is on Lunar here. We also have the 20-day moving average at 981. These are kind of converging. I'd really like to see it get above that. For Lunar here, RSI is still a little bit low, not terribly oversold, but a little bit low here. So what do you think here on Lunar?
Well, one thing I've done is I've taken every $5 increment and just made a horizontal level there, and it seems to work out pretty well. So you do that at 10, 15, 20, and 25. You can see that that's pretty much where the big support and resistance areas have been. So $10 is the next big one to get over. Yesterday, when we were getting asked about this, I said that I'd like to see us recapture and hold above the 200-day SMA as confirmation that we are, in fact, turning around. So want to see that before I, decide to, try Lunar again here to the long side. I still think there's other better names out there as well. Like I still like Iridium and Siri better, but Lunar still is has an upcoming launch in October. So hopefully that'll be the one where they can land their lunar lander upright and have all the instruments work appropriately. But that's in the months away. So we're gonna. I don't know what's going to happen between now and then. Maybe they get more contracts. I haven't done enough due diligence to know whether or not that's going to happen. But as far as the trading this price action, I do want to see it recapture and hold above that $10 or 200-day SMA level before I go to the long side again.
Okay, 10 seconds here. Two things to mention real quick. First of all, NVIDIA in the pre-market here just made a move down with the market right ahead of the open. The other thing, I'm actually seeing a piece of news come across the wire here. Meta plans to charge $14 a month for an ad-free Instagram on Facebook. So that actually should be pretty good for Meta's bottom line here. This stock's up at 1.5% here. Okay, we are open. Ding, ding, ding. Let's figure it out. Let me flip over to the main workspace here. By the way, NVIDIA first move out of the open there is down.
Yep. ALMS really down. That's first move. DATS. That's also pulling MGRX. That actually got a pull right into the open here, and then it's starting to rebound, but it's kind of creating a bear flag, so be careful with MGRX. Don't trust that one right now. TNON, that's trying to get back over the 440 level. This has been going sideways for a while in pre-market. Now it needs to choose a direction.
All right, I've got the VWAP there at 360 on TNON. I do think that probably gets taken here, or probably gets tested, excuse me. Upside here, 470, 475, maybe on a potential spot there.
And
thinking about it, says I'd buy Lunar in July, 3 months before that launch.
Not a bad idea.
Also, getting a mention here that Lunar is knifing.
Well, that's one reason why I don't want it right now. It needs to give me some confirmation that this is actually turning back up. So the level I was talking about, the 200-day SMA $10 level, need to recapture and hold that for at least 3 days. That would give me more confidence that we're moving back to the upside.
Okay.
All right.
Mullen is on the scanner. Stop the presses.
Oh,
Mullen is on the scanner, and it popped earlier. Jay Rice, was this you?
All right. Looks like TNON is having a morning right now.
And it took out that 471 to 475 here. By the way, NVIDIA, we talked about that being the first move here was down. NVIDIA looks like that is trading higher here. Amazon, is Izzy out there? Izzy might be taking the kids to school here. It looks like Amazon dipping a little bit out of the open, already getting bought back up. I do like Amazon here. No position as of right now, but I do like this one. This actually might be a pretty good one here today. Good morning, Sweet One. It's good to see you this morning.
Welcome back. Sweet One. I don't know if that's the case or not. And I don't know how much that's going to materially affect the stock.
VIX here holding at 17. We actually saw a low printed in the pre-market here, 1709. As a reminder, the last couple of times that the market or that the VIX has bounced when has coincided with market sell-offs has really been around that 12 to 15 level on the VIX. So actually have a little bit more room to go there if you think that's going to play out again.
T9 is still going. It's over.
No, it's still going. Okay, let me put T9 on the screen here. 13. I'm going to step away for just 1 sec.
Sounds good.
Give me 1 sec. BRB.
Okay, so T9 looked like it's beelining for 6. We got the 606 in the pre-market. We have the 65 EMA coming up to the VWAP. That a crossing of that or a near crossing is usually you start to get some bullish activity in stocks. We have the MACD on the 5-minute kind of turning to the upside, trying to cross. So it looks like this is really trying to get going here. What we don't want to see is a loss of 440. MOGO is going straight into the ground. Let's bury it, give it a headstone, and say a prayer. MLGO is actually suspended to the downside, halted to the downside. Looking for consolidation from yesterday, that middle area is going to be about 960. So when we open, let's see what happens to that 960 area. We could just blow right through it and start going to some of these lower levels. Beneath 960, I have 825. Yep. You guys are all talking about it. It certainly did crash. So there's that with MLGO. Let's look at something else. TNON, that one's still looking pretty good here. We just don't want to see it lose the 440 level. It's trying to push back over 5. We are looking for $6 as its next upside target here. TNON.
Okay, that is breaking out of that consolidation area. It did not even test VWAP. No chill there. By the way, I did notice that NVIDIA here rolled over a little bit. So NVIDIA might be trying to retest those 120 pre-market lows. That is not the case with some of the other tech stocks. Looking at Amazon here, Amazon definitely more strength. Pull back down to the VWAP looks to be pretty good. Let's take a look at Apple here. Okay, Apple's actually getting hit here too. This is also down near the pre-market low. Take a really quick look at the Qs as well while we're doing that. Qs outperforming relatively. We
have 3 of the Mag 7s that are positive right now. We have Amazon, Google, and Meta that are positive.
And Apple. Meta, remember, we had that news there about charging for an ad-free Instagram. I got to imagine that that's going to be a positive boon for ticker META.
Here goes TNON. Just made some new session highs. Still looking for that 6 print. We were just talking about Meta, right? We've seen this a lot with these mobile games where you have an ability to buy an ad-free version, but they still put ads in it. So I'm just kind of thinking, well, is this going to be the same situation where they say they're not going to have, it's going to be ad-free, but does the content you're watching have ads in it? Like are they going to weave ads in the video? Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I think just kind of skipping ahead in your thought process here, to me, what really matters at the end of the day is, are people willing to say, yes, I will give you my $14 per month to see less ads? How many ads are they going to see? Dude, you might see some others there in the feed, but are you going to pay to see less? I think that the answer there is going to be yes, by the way. If I had to guess, I would imagine the answer there is yes. The trade desk ticker 13. The trade desk ticker TTD. This actually having a strong pre-market here. Lion, I don't know what the trade trigger is on this one here. It does look like the bottom has kind of been put in. Maybe if this holds above 60, we can make some pretty good moves. Know that you said you were trading this here today. Good stuff.
Yeah, like Farmville, exactly. Or Plants vs. Zombies, 2 or 3 or whatever.
I gotta say, I never played either of those games. That name rings a bell, but I never played it.
I played Plants vs. Zombies. I haven't played Farmville. I just know that they're really popular. I remember when I was playing Candy Crush, and that thing is still popular somehow. Getting a lot of sellers coming into TNON right now, trying to push it down. Be careful here. We're getting a lot of upper shadows. Trying to take out this 520 wall that just got put in here. If it does, we could see that push up to 6. Let's see what happens with this seller here trying to push the market down or push TNON down. Oh, they just got taken out.
MKFG, Mark Forge Holding. This is ripping here. This is manufacturing with 3D metal and continuous carbon fiber printers. So it looks like this is another 3D printing name that's moving here. I wonder if that has anything at all to do with the desktop metal.
like 3D printing relationship trades, like
yeah. So
Stratus or
yeah. So those are the two I'm thinking of. DM, which we have news on, and then Stratasys, which is what SSYS. This up 1% here today. It looks.
there's also 3D Systems. Isn't that another one? DDD, Triple D.
Boy, we've got 3D, desktop metal, DDD, 3D printing, and 3D the viewer. We got all types we got it covered from every angle in here. How about that?
That's delightful, isn't it?
I guess I should have seen that one coming. Okay. Crows and Dats. See if this can actually break above the VWAP there. DATS. DM tried to break that VWAP, came in a little bit. Mullen is the top gainer in my scanner. I shudder to even say that out loud here. Mullen moving through the VWAP. We all know this is a scam, y'all.
Yeah. All right. Looks like T9's trying to push back higher again. It was getting pushed down a little bit, but they're trying to, I don't know if they're trying to squeeze him out or not, but they're trying to take out those walls of sellers.
3D in the chat as well. Indeed. We got them all over the place. Triple T's ears are burning. Oh, man. Fairchild, that's so good. Miss him. 276 here on Tesla. This is actually pulling right out of the open. I would want to see this really kind of hold that 275 level.
Wall at 290 for VVPR. You'd have to, read into the press release for this this agreement that VVPR has, and see and kind of get an idea of what the share price would be, because it said there's a $120 million deal, and I believe that's based off their enterprise value. So you kind of have to read and do the math yourself as to where the actual price per share value is. And my napkin math told me it's about $3, maybe a little bit higher, above $3. So you could be coming up to a wall of the valuation of that takeover. I don't know for sure, though. You'd have to read the PR.
I'll tell you what, your napkin math really kind of lines up with where the stock was trading in a range here for an extended period of time. Looking at this, I'd really want to see this move through the VWAP there at 293. It actually used that as resistance here in the pre-market already. So see if it's got the strength to move through that.
Kevin mentioning Rigetti.
It's funny. I got really quickly. I just want to mention they had Sylvia Jablonski on CNBC earlier here today. She's a sharp gal. She's a sharp gal. No shade at all. One thing I will say is she's way too into white. Okay, everything in her apartment is white. Her clothes are always white. It's just too much. Just a pop of color would really help there. All jokes aside, though, they asked her. She said she was actually bullish on some of the quantum names listed. Rigetti and IONQ as the two that she liked. And again, she's no schlub. This is a sharp lady. So my ears kind of perked up when I heard that. Yeah, Michael's saying I really like the show. Michael, we really like you.
Hey. Appreciate it.
You're in a good spot then, buddy.
T9 is a bit of a tug of war, but is trying to push higher. It looks like there's another wall of sellers at 530 that's trying to prevent the price action from going further. But if you take that out, we could still see it push up higher. As far as some of the quantum names go, I ever since that quantum day, I feel like when Jensen's saying that he was wrong about it, I feel like that was kind of a turning point for some of these stocks. Here we go with T9. It just took out that seller. Trying to push up further into the fives.
It almost feels like a couple of these people like cornered him backstage and were like, Jensen, what are you doing, dude? Like, throw us a freaking bone here. Do something. And he's like, goes out there. Yeah, I didn't know. I was just kidding. I didn't really know that there were public companies. I'm sorry. It's probably not that far away. I mean, it's just like, whatever.
And if AI helps develop these newer generation of chips, it could be here even sooner. We have AI that are coming up with new ways to new approaches to different scientific and technological challenges that we've had, and we're starting to make some headway with developing better systems. And I feel like AI is going to lead us to quantum much sooner than we think.
That seems to be the going thought there. By the way, Rigetti outperforming IONQ here today. There's Izzy. I knew he was out there. He's probably dropping the kids off. Family first, with you on that 100%. Izzy, I was on it this time. Amazon dipped right out of the open there. Just overshot the VWAP barely, went back to the highs here. We had Red Dog on earlier, like Amazon higher here. 210 looks to be the spot where this could kind of go to on AMZN.
It's STFU, you're certainly right about that. Russ is asking about VVPR and MODD. VVPR, I still feel like the move had happened yesterday. Could see it maybe turn back up later, but for now, I feel like the move's over. You might have to wait it out and be patient because this happened yesterday intraday.
And wait out that volume too, right? Volume's going to tell the story there. SMCI getting mentioned here in the chat. Let me actually extend this because I still think that we are in here. There we go. Let me see if I can, without monkeying this up, let me see if I can, there we go. So to me on SMCI, you're asking just about this here. Let me reset this. To me, it's going to all really be about this trend line. I know we poked above this here. Now the top end of this parallel channel is basically riding the 200-day, just right beneath it. This entire area, we're at a decision point here with SMCI. Current price is 42.80. 48.50 is going to be that 200-day. We're basically right at the top end. We also have the volume point of control going back to midpoint of last year. We're at a key spot here in SMCI. I don't like this. I'm a no touch with any of the accounting issues, so I'm not in this, but we'll see if this sets up some type of trade here by moving through this. It is doing a good job holding the 50-day there, so maybe it's set to pop through. We'll see if we can get a close above that trend or the top end of the parallel channel, excuse me.
NVIDIA will buy out a quantum company at some point. I'd have to think that they're working on quantum already, and they already have something. But maybe I won't say that that's impossible. I'd be wrong. But which company? I mean, it'd be funny if they ended up buying D-Wave.
That actually would be kind of funny. I think that would be full circle right there.
It would be like, okay, so D-Wave was right. So that's why we're going to buy him up.
That's awesome. DM for details. I see what you did there, Crow. I caught that one. That's pretty good laugh. Cyril asking here, any thoughts on Shkreli's skepticism about quantum? So
most punchable face ever.
Yeah, has nothing to do with quantum.
Nonetheless,
though, whatever you think about him as an aside, he is a fairly smart dude. I kind of have the same opinion. I don't want to say I have the same opinion. I am also skeptical about the quantum timeline here. I've been reading about quantum stuff since I was like a teenager. Like this is part of like my hobby on the side is like physics, string theory, quantum, the whole 9 yards. So I can't help it. I'm a little bit skeptical myself. I think skepticism, a little bit of healthy skepticism, is not a bad thing. I agree with 13 that I think in the future these are going to be extremely important. I'm just completely unsettled on the timeline, to be quite honest with you. It sounds like that's the same deal with him. I don't follow what he says all that often. You'll have to remind me. What was that? T-Non? T-N-O-N?
T-Non is halted to the downside. Yeah, and the whole issue that got me on with not liking him is he was inflating drug prices, and I understand that he's trying to do good by his company to make him money, but there's just a moral side to it that I didn't agree with. Yeah, there's another aspect to that really kind of gets lost in the sauce there. One of the reasons, and he talked about this quite a bit, one of the reasons that he raised the price on one of those drugs is because he was also trying to increase R&D funds for a newer, better drug. I'm not even going to get involved in that. I don't know if that was the right thing to do. I don't think raising drugs on people that need these things to survive is a good idea. I'm just giving you the other side of that. Again, not a huge biotech guy for a lot of those reasons, to be quite honest with you. Sometimes I can pick them, sometimes I can't. Last biotech that I liked that actually did anything worth a damn was TGTX. I don't have a good hit rate there. By the way, this TNON here, that was indeed halted to the downside. We are probably going to get that VWAP test here. It is going to be post-halt. Also, NVIDIA breaking new intraday lows here.
as NVIDIA takes out the low in the pre-market there. Jaquimi, hopefully you either played this short or did not play this long. This is what we were trying to avoid.
You know, Ryan, you reminded me of iPoint Pharmaceuticals, so I just started taking a look at the chart, and it's at a level. It's at a level where there was
EYPT is the ticker on that one, right?
Yeah. I haven't looked at this one in a while, but it's starting to look like it may be finding a bottom. So I think some attention might need to be paid on this one later, and to see where it's at with its drug development or.
You know what? I know Zoltan still looks at this. This is a very, very good support level. We should ask him about this. Put that on the list. Put that on the list. Cyril is saying here, Shkreli would give those drugs for free to people who needed them and he couldn't afford. This is regarding the ones that they increased the price on to try and spur some R&D for some new drugs. I heard that too. Again, I can't confirm any of this. I'm not trying to defend anybody, but I think there's more to that than gets blown up in the news cycle, Cyril. So I'm with you on that. I almost can't believe I'm reading this. Amanda, string theory was my focus in my master's. Do you have anything I can read? Why have we not talked about this? Is my only follow-up question there. That is effing awesome. Yeah, Bears are still in command. Bears are still in command. We'll see if they're still in command in September. Am I right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Okay. You like that? You like that?
Let's see how commanding they are next month.
Yeah, up in Green Bay, by the way, for the draft.
That's right.
All right. All jokes aside there, all the play on words done there as well. POAI, this is another one from our list here, that predictive oncology. Boy, that lost the VWAP. Good night. That thing is continuing to trade down here. I guess we'll see if it gets to this 165 area. We talked about that one
EMA.
before.
So turn your 65 EMA on. It's trying to bounce off that right now.
There you go. There you go, 13.
You might get some support here in POAI. Just watch this moving average. Watch for a recapture of the 185 level. We need to hold above that. And then the next thing that you want to see after that is to get above VWAP. So we might be turning around here in POAI. So keep an eye on it.
Okay. Good stuff there. Amanda, because Seinfeld is more fun and I couldn't major in 90s sitcoms. Okay, this is a surprisingly good answer. I did not expect the answer to be that good. Still, though, if you have something that you wrote about string theory that I can read, I am interested.
We might be a little early in this timeline for colleges to start offering courses on 90s sitcoms, but I feel like at some point
I would teach the Seinfeld one.
There's gonna be that. There's gonna be a Friends sitcom. There's gonna be a lot of nobody's going to attend the Dharma and Greg sitcom class, but, I think there's going to be plenty of other ones. Oh, POAI is getting back above 185, so there might be some life left in this one. Let's see if this is where we actually get the curl here.
By the way, David, invite Shkreli on as a guest to discuss quantum or drugs. So this is what I'll say. I will definitely throw that to the team. I will take your suggestion there and throw it to the team. I don't know what's going to happen from that, but I will absolutely do that. Tesla getting mentioned here a number of times. Tesla actually broke that pre-market support level.
That's taking off. Yes, it is making new highs. 389 was the high it made in the last 5-minute candle. It's trying to break that high now. MGRX, Mango Cuticles, Fruit Fingers, if you want. That's halted to the downside. DJT had a good 15 minutes out of the gate, and then it knifed down to the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. Now it's trying to get back above VWAP.
Tesla's trying to hold in here and bounce, but I don't know.
Let's see, what's the watch list looking like? So we've got a little more Mag 7s in the green. The ones that aren't are NVIDIA and Tesla. Everything else green. Barely in some cases.
Okay. Looking at some of the option flow here, a lot more puts than calls. That's been consistent from the morning here. We've actually moved off those highs here as well. Nike. Oh, that looks like a closing trade. And actually, Nike, so this doing a fairly decent job, at least so far here, holding 67. We talked about that maybe bouncing from the spot that it's on. Might be a little too early to tell here. More Tesla puts getting bought as this continues to print new lows.
Yeah, so Tenon, that was it halted to the downside. It's open again. It didn't quite hit the 65 EMA yet, and it's trying to recapture the VWAP, but it's getting rejected at the moment. It needs to recapture that 440 level if we're going to see some more upside in Tenon. Looks like POAI is still trying to recover. DAT's new highs, 416 now. That was a great mention. Let's see who said that. Sorry, DAT's taken off. That was Tom B. Just be careful with these. I mean, folks are a little bit concerned with this. We don't want anybody getting caught in these. But it is still pushing up.
Hey,
MGRX is unhalted now, hit 350, trying to turn around now.
Look at the volume on DATs.
Yep.
Volume is continuing to expand here, Tom. Good mention here.
That's insane.
Yeah, this is why this is one of your better plays here. That volume telling the story.
Yep. Let's see. I don't even think I have levels marked off for this one, so let's do that. See where this goes.
Hey, let's go. Freeport McMoran. This also
right
at the highs. This actually took out yesterday's intraday highs. Your copper theme still in play here. This actually bucking the trend. Well, market came off the highs. FCX moved to new high here. So this trade is actually working.
Okay, let's see.
NBIS, by the way, for any of you that are looking to trade NBIS or get better entry on this actually did move off that low here. This $26 level still kind of in play. We actually have a pretty decent range here between 26 and 29. Stocks really kind of stayed in here for the last several sessions. Looks like they does not have the strength to break out of that range here today. Let's see what this looks like on the daily chart. Yeah, basically just caught. This is it just reminds me of that box that Mike, for heaven's sakes, Ryan, get it together. Mark Petrino talked about with us on Friday, right? He's like, "Where's my rectangle tool?" This basically looks like this is doing the exact same thing here. Watch for NBIS to maybe break out or down from that box for the next potential trade.
In DATS 5, it does look like it's an interesting level. I'm looking at some consolidation from 2023. That's where it seems like where this price action we're getting right now is having the most trouble. $5 looks like an interesting level, but I am looking for a recapture of 465 first. If we get that, then I think $5 is a lot more possible. After $5, I have 6 and then 740. All right. Adobe looking good. SIDA setting for new high a day.
Really quickly here, breadth was pretty poor right out of the open. SPY, Dow, Qs, and Russell were down. The NICE was holding on to green. Since then, though, the Qs has actually turned positive here. So we'll see if this bounce is just kind of a reflexive bounce or if this might actually be a change here. Q breadth positive. New York Stock Exchange breadth also positive here. Let me take a look at the advancers to decliners. Advancers to decliners, still advancers by 226, but boy, we pulled off the high there. Actually, looks like that might be trying to go negative as well.
So there was a question earlier about you, Amy, and I'll just,
oh my God.
What's
Sorry. Finish up with the you, Amy, and then I got something to go after.
Okay, so you, Amy, that was it's polling today because it's had a great run since March 10th. The RSI was very extended, and if you switch to like a 5-minute chart, out of the gate, you can see here that we were putting in a series of upper shadows. One of the first candles out of the gate had a high amount of volume, but it whipped around, but almost didn't go nowhere. And then the following one could not get above 240, which is what the price was aiming for, and it's since come in. So I'd expect this one to cool off today after having a crazy run over the past few weeks.
Okay, number of things going on here. I'm going to try and hit all of them. A lot of good stuff that I see. Number one, market is trying to bounce. So we talked about that little pull right from the open that's trying to bounce. The breadth is trying to flip over. The advanced decliners are no longer sinking. We'll see if that holds up here. NVIDIA, by the way, really needs to get back above its VWAP. It's trying to bottom. Oh, come on. Give me the ticker here. It's trying to bottom intraday here. It's really needs to get back above. I got 1995 as the VWAP here. We'll see if that can reclaim it. This is firming up a little bit. But the big thing that I wanted to talk about, FCX. We talked about the May 50 calls. We talked about the huge sweep that we saw there. And then yesterday, I had mentioned on Happy Hour for anyone that was there, hey, there was more action in these FCX calls. There was like 86,000 in the open interest, and then we saw 62,000 contracts worth of volume by the end of the day. My first thought was, gosh, that those things were initially swept up at 39 cents. Thing was offered for 55. Probably that trader taking a huge portion of the position and booking some of those gains. Wrong. This morning, there is 134,000 contracts held open in the open interest. That was a repeat buy of those contracts. Again, those are the May 50s. They have a 60-cent ask now. I'm at the point now where I got to start selling into some of this. Mm-hmm. Hang on a sec.
So I'm going to do it right now.
I'm literally going to get an order and throw it out there. I'll let you know if it gets filled.
Hell yes. One thing to keep in mind with FCX here is that if you look at the November price action, there's a lot of consolidation from about the middle of November until almost the middle of December. That price action, I feel like
out half gains booked.
Hell yes.
That was the wrong sound. So
okay, went up.
So the reason that this is interesting to me because I said yesterday on Happy Hour, I said to myself, boy, I probably should have taken partial of that trade when we saw some of the huge volume hitting, because it actually stayed there at 55 cents. I just kind of assumed that those would be some closing of the contracts. No, that was more exposure to those. I'll sell in a little bit to this here today. Red Dog said it this morning. If we're traders, we got to pay ourselves sometime. That's what I'm doing here.
DAX through 5.
Great move here in FCX. I'm sorry, I'm so excited about that. That's surprised me in a good way.
No worries. Just mentioning here because some folks are playing it. DAX moving through 5, really moving through it now. 517 the high, 519 now. Looking for $6. As far as I was mentioning something with your FCX that we're both in. We're coming up to consolidation from November and December last year, and I feel like we could see some resistance as we try to work our way through that consolidation. So it may take more than one day to get through that. If you look at a daily chart on FCX, there you go. You got it right there. From November, like middle of November to middle of December, we're trying to get to that consolidation. Also, now that I see that here, we have the 200-day SMA that we're almost at.
I'd like to see it get above that and close. Remember, these are 50 calls, right? These are 50 calls. So I did just a partial sale there, getting some of those gains booked. We'll lock some of that in. Jay Rice here mentioning, look at Copper Ryan at /HG for those of you that have the commodities feed. 2-year high. That is the exact thesis here for this trade. FCX best in breed for copper. Lion, you sold too early, brother. I still got half my position, brother. Left it on. Did a really good job in this case, scaling out instead of dumping all of it. So if this goes higher tomorrow, guess what? I'll be dancing on the table again. We're good.
Oh, we just got home sales data. Perfect. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Let me read it out to you. U.S. building permits month over month for February, -1% versus the -1.2% estimate. So a little bit of a better read there. Prior read was 0.6 to the negative. February building permits, 1.46 million versus the I tried to abbreviate there to make it easier. 1.459 million versus the 1.456 million estimate. Those permits are up a little bit. The prior read was 1.47. And then housing price index month over month for January, 0.2 versus a 0.2 estimate. The prior read was 5. That's right in line.
Consumer confidence just hit the tape. That's down for March.
Yep, USA CB consumer confidence for March, 92.9 versus the 94.2 estimate. Prior read, 98.3. Richmond manufacturing index for March, -4 versus the 8 estimate. Prior read was 6. NVIDIA, by the way, reversed its move higher. That is rolling back over to the lows. So too is the market. Are we having fun yet?
STFU wants you to dance, and he's willing to pay.
STFU wants me to dance. Can I be one of the guys throwing dollars at you while you're dancing on a table? Way to take this from a family show right into the gutter, STFU. Way to do it. That was metaphorical. You guys, I like you folks, and as a result, I would not want to punish you by forcing you to watch me dance. Also, I like my job. I would imagine if I started dancing on camera, we would lose so much viewership that I would be fired. So that's probably not going to happen, but I am going to joke about it. Okay. What else do we got here? Who's trading Mullen? I hope the answer is nobody.
Looks like that's trying to go higher here. Somebody mentioned FFIE to where we had producer bring up the news on it. This thing is just a barcode right now. It's very, very little price action. I mean, I don't even have a read on the volume.
Wait. Didn't we have FFAI, Faraday Future? So wait a sec, folks.
I must be looking at the wrong one. Yeah, I was.
Well, because FFIE, isn't this a ticker change?
Because that's what I was looking at was FFIE, because that was Faraday Future.
Yeah, I think that this was a ticker change here. I think the new ticker now is FFAI. What a round trip this was. Good morning, Richard. Great to see you. I'm going to have to settle for your OnlyFans page. Oh, Fairchild.
The only
I love the jokes in the morning. I absolutely love it.
Dad's now pushing higher, looking for 6. Just hit 550.
If you danced, viewership would rise. Jane, you're a good soul, Jane. I don't think that's true, but you're a good soul.
Every time you take profit on FCX now, you have to do a dance.
I'm not doing that. Guys. Oh, I do appreciate all of you for having some fun here today, though. Ryan, it's changed.
Yeah, I mean, Dad's still pushing.
Ryan, actually, I appreciate this, my man. Ryan, if they fire you, start your own channel. We'll be there, brother. I appreciate you, man. Let me tell you something. I was joking about all that. I don't suspect that's ever a problem, but I would definitely do that if that was the case. I would definitely start my own.
We're almost at 6 in debts. This thing just continues.
I'm going back to my main workspace here. I feel like I'm laughing too much now and not paying attention. Oh, look at that. I think I might have top ticked that FTX sale.
Oh, well done.
As that came in a little bit there, booked some of those gains. How about that? By the way, VIX. Okay, interesting. So the VIX is actually up off that morning low print. 1709 was your low. VIX now 1760. So we're creeping a little bit there. That makes sense with the way the market is going. And this market move down here, this is fairly orderly, right? There's nothing capitulatory about this. This just looks like a slight pullback.
Speaking of pullbacks, DAT's now pulling back a little bit after hitting 585. This thing has just been a monster this morning. The Faluna twerk.
The chatters are just on in fuego, as they say, this morning.
All right, so let's see. POAI been going sideways since hitting the 65 EMA. TNON getting down to the 65 EMA. Didn't quite hit it yet, but got near it. Now it's trying to recapture VWAP. DAT's really pulling after that incredible move over the last 25 minutes. MGRX, this thing is ugly, but trying to find a bottom still. Looks like QBTS. Man, this thing, it just makes these highs and then it just comes right back in. QBTS making an intra-day trend line here. Let's see if we break over that now. The highs of the regular session are 885, and then the next part of the trend line is the high is 880. We're coming up to 876 is the high here. So 5-cent increments, we keep going lower. At some point, we might break this trend line here. Happy hunting, Justin Bourne.
Okay. Sorry, I had to take care of some more work emails there. Look around, see where we're at. Apple's at the highs. Tesla is trying to hold that 270 low. That might just be a little bit of a pullback there. NBIS is trying to hold bottom end of that channel. Okay. Let's look at the scanner and see what we got here. That's pulling off that high. MLGO halt up, so that did get rolling here again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so interesting. So we dipped out of the open on that weakness. We came right into that 1125 level, bounced pretty clean off of that, now halted as we recaptured VWAP to the upside. I would still be very careful with this one.
Yeah, look at I think you just had your mouse over it, but that $12 level, that's kind of where we went right up to, just 5 cents short of it. And that's also been the support area. for the downside we've had in the extended hours trading. So that's going to be a resistance area to get through here. Seems like if we get that, we would be wanting to look at that 1375 as the next upside level, followed by 1450. Lunar upgrades. It's getting upgrades now. Is that taking it over 10? Not quite yet. Let's see.
Canaccord. So again, not to be a party pooper here. Canaccord maintains buy. So that's not an upgrade. It did readjust the price target, lowered it to 21 there. Cantor Fitzgerald maintains overweight, no upgrade there, lowers price target to 13. Benchmark reiterates buy, staying the same, maintains the price target as well. So I don't see any upgrades there unless they were new and just haven't hit the tape yet. Does look like they readjusted some of the price targets. All of the ones listed higher than the current price.
Yeah, so if they get more NASA contracts, then they're going to go higher.
Yeah, I would think so.
All right, QBTS trying to break that trend I was talking about earlier.
POAI making a dash to its VWAP. So this is interesting. This does look like this held the 65 EMA on the 5. Boy, that level becomes more and more in play the more we look at it. We did not come down to that 167 level. Now we're making a dash to the VWAP. Watch 211 here. We would really want to see it get above and build. Here's your trend line that we'd be looking at. This would be your next area higher, POAI.
Yep. At VWAP, trying to take out some of these seller walls. You have one at 210 and 220. They're pretty large. What else?
Desktop Metals is holding above its VWAP there. So they actually, that's interesting. They have their earnings are estimated for 2 weeks from now. I'll see what they do when they confirm it. I wonder what they're going to say about this whole merger and everything.
The formation of in DM right now, it looks bullish. If we continue to hold above VWAP, I think we may end up taking out 490 here. That would be a break. That would be a breakout of this bullpen.
Mobileye, what happened here? Mobileye Global shares are trading higher after Volkswagen announced a partnership with the company to upgrade the driver assistance systems for its upcoming portfolio of MQB vehicles here. Mobileye, we moved off that high here, but this is curling back. I've watched this to take out the VWAP. This actually reads like a pretty good piece of news. I'll tell you what, Volkswagen, man, they start to get involved in all these other companies.
Yeah, Mobileye has a very high short interest with a lot of days to cover.
37% of the float shorted with 7.42 days to cover. And I tell you what, maybe this goes on a run if this recaptures VWAP. Also watch that volume. If that expands at all, giddy up. CrowdStrike here having another nice day right out of the open. We talked a little bit there about cybersecurity earlier when we were talking about Microsoft. As speed, scale, and frequency of cyber attacks are outpacing the capabilities of human defenders, we're going to need stuff like CrowdStrike, Microsoft, Palo Alto, all of that. This responding positively here, up just shy of 5%. CrowdStrike's daily chart actually looks pretty good. Maybe another move higher here if it can take out 400.
That was a really good opportunity on their weakness.
Yeah, it was. Shout out to Amanda for putting that one on my plate. I kind of wrote that off after the systems issue that they had last year that grounded all those flights. Boy, was that the wrong move. That was a hell of a buy.
So DAT's coming off of their high, trying to find a bottom here, looking like it might be around 465 that it finally finds support. Just don't want to see this lose VWAP, but that's much further down underneath 420.
Sorry, which one? I saw Mullen in the chat. Couldn't think of anything else. DATS. DATS.
Mm-hmm. And I know that now that I said 420, we might see wisdom show up here at any moment.
NVIDIA is coming up off of its lows. We'll see if that can take out VWAP here on NVIDIA. The market is also holding in there, although we are on NASDAQ here. We actually have some nasty wicks to the upside, but it's holding there.
I think we're getting close to seeing Desktop Metals make a move out of this consolidation.
I think you might be right. 450 might be the spot there. Yeah. Tamed Craziness. I couldn't read the handle there, and I didn't want to butcher it. Tamed Craziness. Is Volkswagen making an electric parts car with Rivian and Mobileye and maybe Porsche? Wasn't there another one in there? I know the Rivian one, but I thought there was another company that they gave a bunch of money to, another EV company.
Another one I thought that was Rivian.
Yeah, I could have sworn that there was another one though. I thought Rivian was the second. I'm drawing a huge blank on that.
Let's see here. I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
Let's see. We can just Google this.
Appreciate the assist there. TNON. So after all of that commotion here in the pre-market and then right out of the open, TNON has really kind of knifed, sold, and has now started to slow down and hold its VWAP. It also has that 65 EMA about 30 cents beneath it. If this can hold here, maybe this isn't bad. I'd watch for the volume to confirm that. Excuse me. I'd watch for the volume to actually be the trigger there. I wouldn't necessarily front run this move. Maybe use that volume. But TNON here, not totally breaking down. Stock's still up 300+%. So just be really careful with that one. Make sure that you have your stops set if you're going to trade that one. ALMS, what a disaster that was. That came all the way back in. DM there, it looks like it was flirting with that 450 move higher.
Yeah, so it's SAIC Motor, I think is what they were Volkswagen was strengthening their partnership with. But it was Rivian that they had the 5.8 billion investment into. So yeah, I don't know if there was another car company.
Okay.
All right, so it looked like Desktop Metal was trying to get going there. That had that move suppressed a little bit, but it's not breaking down. Let's see. Yeah, so I don't know if Porsche was it. Well, because I thought Porsche was owned by Volkswagen.
Yeah, I think isn't that what he's?
Well, he's saying
just kind of building their own.
Yeah. So, and maybe Porsche. Well, I would say for sure Porsche because they're owned by Volkswagen. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's knifing. I don't see it knifing. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm looking at DM. It's come down to that 465 area. This is where it needs to rebound. Actually, if it doesn't, then I think we'll be seeing some knives to the VWAP.
It was XPEV. Jay, sometimes I know you're saying read the chat like some sort of smart ass. Sometimes it's hard. Chat moves quickly, but you're right. It was XPEV. I was going to say I could have sworn there was another company that they did that with. XPEV is it. Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
And that was before the Rivian one too, because I remember when we got that headline on Rivian. It might have actually been Jay. It said, remember they did that with XPEV. Take a look at XPEV.
POAI getting mentioned here that has recaptured its VWAP, trying to trade higher, looking for 250.
Needs that trend line next here. Got that at what, about 235 to 237 here. POAI. Crow's on this one. Here we go.
FCX consolidating. That's getting support from its VWAP. LGO hit the 65 EMA on the upside, got resistance there, still above VWAP. QBTS broke that trend line, could not hold above it, knifed back down to where the opening price was.
POAI is gearing. Watch that volume. I almost think we're going to get a volume pop in here that takes us above that trend.
There's a seller walking down DATS now. It may end up going down to VWAP.
Got a MACD cross here, POAI. Bonjour, smoke tuna. If we get the smoke tuna blessing, look out. By the way, NVIDIA, we talked about that being a little bit weak here out of the open. NVIDIA right back to its VWAP. And through now.
Look at this move in POAI. I think you just took your screen, took off your screen.
Yep, there it is.
Right to the 250, right to it. 249, I'm sorry. 249. Sorry, guys. Give you the wrong number. Shit. So there you go.
Cash register rings for the POAI calls here from the group.
Rejected that the trend line. I still think that it may try to get back over it, but it's might just take a little bit longer. I'm still waiting to see if Desktop Metals breaks out of this consolidation. It tried once 5 minutes ago, came right back into it, but it seems like it's trying again.
NVIDIA struggling with its VWAP now. POAI, I want to see, here's that volume stick. I want to see that continue to expand here. I think the next spot we can take out this pre-market high here, 284. DM still looking like it wants to flash through that 450. Again, same deal here. Want to watch the volume. Tenon, this is what's trying to get above its 15 EMA there.
Let me see. Let's take a look. Yeah, 15, making it through, and VWAP. It's knocking on the door of VWAP. Takes out the seller at 440. We might see some better movement here because 440. That's the level that I have here that we were keeping an eye on this morning for price action. It's just been above and below 1440 all morning.
POAI knifed. Well, so again, okay, so let's talk about this. Again, this is one of the reasons why we're trying to identify different spots like trend lines, VWAPs, moving averages, the whole 9 yards. This thing went above that trend line, and I don't know why it's, there we go. A 5-minute candle. Look at this. This went right through that VWAP, the expanding volume, took it above the trend line. Now those folks that are in it trying to sell that back down. Big round trip here. This is again, don't necessarily be worried about selling too early. If you're selling stuff and you're making gains on it and you're putting your money into your account, that's a good thing. You can, some of these are going to do stuff just like this. And on some of these smaller movies, you got to be a little bit quicker on some of that.
It looks like a lot of things are selling off. Is there, what's happening? Is Bitcoin tanking? It looks like
Nope.
It hit a high and it's coming down.
Bitcoin double topped at 88K on the futures. NASDAQ near the highs. SPY near the highs.
It seems like there's just a lot of stuff that just suddenly started to roll over. Like FCX rolling over. Some of these speculative names that we were looking at. That's actually trying to push back up here.
I see what you did there. Amazon's still looking strong. I agree with Lion. This holding higher here. Shout out Izzy. I know you got to be having a good day. Apple near the highs here. CNBC mentioning that Apple's China slump minus 11.1% year-over-year change since December, or in the December quarter.
Was there something else going on with NVIDIA that we just didn't see? Like, I know that there's been a real push to tighten the in Malaysia to tighten these export control measures. So
yeah, I talked about that yesterday morning when we got that news.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of wondering if we're starting to see, some of that, if that means, lower revenue for NVIDIA, but I'm just guessing.
Here, I went over this story here this morning. Gene Munster predicts 2025 is the year of the humanoid robot.
Here we go with DAX. That's starting to move better.
That had NVIDIA ties, by the way. Here's your DAX chart.
It was moving good a second ago. Now, seller just brought in this got taken out. Who knows what happens with DAX here? It looks like it's trying to go higher, back up to 6, but we were getting all kinds of whipping around here with this one. $120 key level in NVIDIA. Yeah, we lost it too. That's a bit of a rejection area. Now it's really starting to come in a little bit more. And this we have a bit of a bear flag formation since we opened with NVIDIA. Just kind of formed a bear flag. So we may end up going lower here. It looks like under 119.
It is struggling with its VWAP. Struggling with its VWAP on this potential bounce right here. I think this could resolve lower. Porch Group, this ramping here. Did this have news? Did not. PRCH, we've traded that one here before. No position on it at the moment. GDHG, Gold Haven Group. Was this one of Andy's Chinese junkie names that's going now?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I want to say it is, but it's really kind of come back. I don't know.
I don't know if that was one of them or not. I think there was a different one, like it was like Supercom or something like that.
Yeah, SPGC or something like that. But I could have sworn that was maybe I'm off on that. Nonetheless, POAI, watch for that to recapture its VWAP here. Boy, I really hope you folks took gains on that one.
That's still trying to make its way up here. Not looking too bad at all. And pretty good. I know some of you are in this one. Let's see. PSTV getting some volume. Plus Therapeutics, what's this about? They have a conference call and earnings in 2 days.
This had a pretty decent move yesterday, and it's really moving off of last Thursday. What happened on last Thursday?
They had FDA approval, they accepted the name for their lead asset. It wasn't an approval. They accepted the name of it.
Plus 200% on a circuit breaker.
Amazing. On a name acceptance.
It is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's still looking pretty good. Don't like the formation of this wick that we're putting in here, but probably one more green candle that it may have in it before we start seeing some weakness. MLGO, qubits, QBTS. That really that's trading beneath the open now.
QBTS. So the quantum names didn't do all that well, huh?
Well, it looks like there was a knife, about 5-10 minutes ago in a lot of these names. Smoked in a DAX rocket. Let's see here. Did that finally do something? Not quite yet. I'm still looking for a break over 6. That'd be amazing.
BDTX, this is actually moving on some volume here. I feel like we talked about this one recently. Yep, we sure did. Wednesday of last week.
Yeah, that's the good one.
Oh, gosh, it's one of those. That's right. How good was it, actually?
Well, there you go. Look at last week.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Intel, I don't know how much I make.
Right.
One.
Here's the next candle in DAX. We're starting to go green. It should, this is going to probably go and hit that 6th level, hopefully. But this is the next green candle here for DAX. That would make 3 green candles in a row. That could mean that the next one may be red.
And that's a slightly lower high on that impulse move right there. MLGO getting mentioned. This is down 16% here. We mentioned this one did have one little bounce in there from 1152, but volume not what we wanted to see here. Honestly, folks, I'd probably I'd look elsewhere. I don't know about MLGO. I mean, maybe it comes back here, but I'm not sure about that. OKLO, by the way, this is some calls on this. Maybe not terribly notable. How's SMR doing? Is that doing the same thing? Yeah, that chart looks almost the same there. Okay. And folks, Anne-Marie in the chat, don't forget, we've got Anne-Marie coming up later today. Anne-Marie, I don't know if you have a planned list of tickers, but if there are some stocks that you folks would like to get option trades on, let's hear what tickers those are. We'll take a look at them.
POAI getting mentioned. That's still trying to get back up to 250.
ASTS puts getting bought. I see IONQ calls getting bought. This is still doing a fairly decent job holding higher. Tesla's starting to turn up.
T9.
All about that up here on Tesla.
T9 looking pretty weak here. I think we just got some good movement here with Desktop Metals. Is this going to finally be the breakout of the consolidation we've been waiting for? Let's see. DOMH squeezish.
Dom H didn't that have like a crazy day one morning in here? Dominari Holdings. Yeah, it definitely did. Let's figure out. Yep, that was right in here. Early mid-February. DOMH.
Not seeing. Oh, this had a short report issued on it last Wednesday or a few Wednesdays ago.
DOMH did?
Yeah, March 5th. J Capital Research issues short report on Dominari Holdings.
J Capital? Is that Jay Rice by any chance? J Capital. I'm just kidding. I don't know who that is. I don't think I've ever heard of that firm. By the way, POAI, right back to that trend line. It's almost as if this trend line is doing something.
Yeah.
It's stopping it right here. Volume actually looks pretty decent too. Remember, this knifed the last time it took this out, so just be careful. Gary Morris is bringing up Crocs. I think Jay probably brought this one up earlier. Hate the product, but the stock has been good to our group. Boy, you guys swinging this long here? This potential swing long gap fill up to 135 if it breaks this? Well, I wonder if Mark Petrino wrote about this one.
Lunar's not moving.
Jay should have a short report of his own. I concur, Crow. Jay should have what we should call it, what, the Rice report. We got to come up with a clever name. Help me out, 13. You're really good at this. Come on. Let's incorporate Jay Rice's name into a short report company, and we'll have the makings of an idea here.
Jay Rice, not nice short report. I don't know.
Take that. Take that. Oh gosh, slanging out here. What was the ticker for the short report? It was DOMH, right? DOMH.
Yeah.
This was from.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, you said that. This was from March 5th.
Yep.
Do we get access to it? No.
Just getting told that AT&T is having a good day. It certainly looks that way. It's having almost a 2% day. Trying to get above 2750. That's a resistance level that I've got marked off here. Had this on here for a while, I can tell, because that was one of the levels I was looking for when I wanted to trim and get out of this position.
Here we go. We've got three names here real quick. Fried Ricer. I like that one. I like that one. That's a good one. The Rough Rice Report. Can't go wrong with alliteration ever. Rice, not nice. Gave you Mullen short 2 years ago at 47,000. So I'm saying, Jay, we need the Ricer report or whatever we're going to end up. Rice, not nice. I love it, guys. Jay, I'm sorry for putting you on a spot. We're just having some fun. Thanks, guys. Just made a quick G note on that. Stack them bands, Alexander. Way to go.
Nice.
Here.
Oh, look at that. It did go back up. It made a new high at 593. Didn't quite hit 6 yet, though. And, of course, we're knifing again.
Payday from Jay say. Rough Rice is actually a futures contract.
That's awesome.
This really is awesome.
Desktop Metals still trying to break out of consolidation. Just watch for the volume expansion. That'll probably be when it happens. But
Lion Atlas giving you the alert here. I'm going long on DOMH. Can't go wrong, Ryan, with these short reports. Look, it's worked on some of those bigger stocks. We'll see if it works on Dominari. Good luck, Lion. Bless up.
POAI
Jay dropping it. Twice as nice as Jerry Rice. I love it. Or simply morning rice. Oh man, that was a joke that went farther than I thought. That's good stuff. You guys do not disappoint. Every day, you folks never cease to disappoint. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
How about short grain rice?
Oh.
Or short gain rice.
Oh man, this is getting better and better. The rice burner.
POAI is still trying to push up and get over 250. It's been trying for the past 30 minutes or 20 minutes now.
I'll tell you what, at least we didn't knife and knock out all of those flippers on a really nasty pull this time around, or at least not yet.
That pull may still end up coming, but
you're right about that.
I think what you may end up getting is like a pop over that 250, and then the pull comes.
Who mentioned Sava earlier? Someone brought this up. Yeah, someone brought this up, but again, the chat was moving quickly and I didn't comment on it, and I'm sorry about that. This has been a battleground stock that we've seen here. I remember this stock was $100. It's $2 now. Cassava Sciences shares are trading lower after the company reported top-line results from its phase 3 Refocus ALZ study. So this whole thing was in battle with an Alzheimer drug. Obviously, it's not doing well. The stock is pounded as it is here. Here you go.
Yeah, and it looks like it didn't. The phase 3 results did not meet their their primary endpoints. I'd have to read into this to see exactly what they're saying about it, but not looking good for this one.
No, and there was a battle online about this one. There were people on the side of this being a big scam. There were people saying that this is going to change people's lives and it's going to be this great thing. Down 20% here today. SAVA, Cassava Sciences.
It's okay though. We're not at the all-time lows yet. You know, we still have another dollar to go.
I can appreciate the glass half full approach coming from 13 right there.
We have to get underneath the dollar, and then the bottom will be in. So anyway, all jokes aside, this thing was under $1 in 2018 and 19.
Yeah, here it was. STFU again. I'm sorry that we missed this earlier. The phase 3 showed no benefit.
No, and STFU, you're probably the one that was saying, so we're just kind of bringing up what you were saying earlier. We're not trading this, but we were just laughing about it because this is something that even in the happy hour, we had lots of conversations about this one. Trying to remember his name. Was it Hector?
Yeah. He was just shout out to Hector because we're talking about some of the back and forth online. One of the things that Hector was doing, which I found valuable for the happy hour, was he was digging into the actual press releases and then using his stats background to try and make sense of the data. I'm never going to fault anybody for trying to look at data, even if they get the thing wrong. I'm not going to fault you. It's one thing if you're just, hey, this is the next ripper, it's going to go 100%, blah, blah, blah. But he's actually trying to do some analytical work on that.
Yeah,
we'll cover that all the time.
Things seem to be in a bit of a sideways pattern for the moment. Let me see what NVIDIA is doing here. Do we go higher or lower? It looks like we didn't go really anywhere. Maybe lower. Let's see. Yeah, slightly lower in NVIDIA. Could not recapture 120. Actually, we had multiple rejections around that area so far this morning. We opened the market, lost that level, have not been able to recapture it. We may end up making new lows at some point.
Shout out to Red Dog here, because one of the things that he had said earlier was that NVIDIA was not trading with the broader market. It was noticeably weak, relatively weak. I think a relative weakness, I think, is what the actual term that he used. Here's your cues. It's literally doing the opposite of what NVIDIA is doing. And what are you doing, Cat? He is going to break something. Okay, Cat. I'm just going to pretend like that's not happening and hope that he comes out of that unscathed. But anyway, NVIDIA is diverging from the cues. It's not doing the same thing here. And shout out again. I think that NVIDIA not the best place to go here. How about Mr.? I love that he calls it Mr. too.
Sorry, Jay Rice was mentioning Arcimoto. I remember this one too. Traded this
FUV?
one as well. Fun utility vehicle. I remember when this thing. Yeah, this was part of like that whole SPAC craze too.
This thing got so crushed, I can't even pull up a chart. I just get the ghost error.
It might be delisted, or I don't know, or they filed for bankruptcy, so it's under another ticker. I don't know, but that one. There was another one too. I think the ticker was SOLO. That was
Solo. Yes, is that still around?
No.
Is it? No. This was that little. That's a ghost chart too. This was that little car that looked like we could have just tipped it over.
Oh no! It was so funny because it looked like half a car, like the front half of a car.
It was tiny. It was absolutely tiny.
Oh man! Well, so much for all those ideas.
IOBT. What's this one? What does this do here, real quick?
It's FUVV now. Okay, so they did go through a ticker change.
Is a clinical stage biopharma company developing novel immune cancer vaccines. Pre-revenue. Yeah, I don't know about that.
This FUVV even looks like it's on the verge of being delisted.
FUVV, I have no price for it. I have 0001.
Yep, that's the price I've got too. That's how much it's going for on the OTC market. So yeah, Solo was a 3-wheeled car that had. It looked like it was a like if you were behind a building and you started seeing this thing creep out, you're like, oh, look at this car coming, and then it just ends. that was the electromechanica car.
And then it just ends. Netflix at the highs, by the way. Netflix up 2.3% here, plus 22 points. Boy, I tell you what, Netflix is one of those stocks I need to start trading more often.
NVIDIA and Tesla are still the only red Max 7s, but Tesla is about to turn green.
Okay, Anne-Marie, we've got app on the list so far. I would also add maybe Chipotle or Netflix. We got a couple we can start with.
POAI went right through that 250 area and came back down, and then now I would probably anticipate a knife. That's what we were looking for with POAI. This is after 250, it's been having a hard time getting any higher than that. The high in the pre-market was 283. I have 275 marked as the next level up for resistance. So even after 250, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot more room to go. We could lose VWAP here. If we do, then I think we're going to be losing $2 as well.
Jay here mentioning OKLO. Jay here saying, of note, they got 2 new board members. The former CEO of LEU, which Jay still likes, okay, it looks like there's 2 thoughts blended into one there. So you're saying here that they got LEU's former board member added here, OKLO. This is still about the trend line. Oh, that's right. I extended this yesterday and didn't save it. Let me fix that up here. And actually, you know what? VWAP EMAs save overwrite. Take that.
NVIDIA back to 120, trying to recapture it.
And the market also at the highs here. NASDAQ just actually printed some new highs there. SPY's trying to go for some new highs there. OKLO, the spot that I'm really looking at here is going to be this trend line. We can get back up and cross above that.
DJT with a break above VWAP.
Let me take a look at LEU here. Jay, you said you were buying the pull here, 70 to 74. Jay's an adder here of LEU. I like that. This has been such a winner for you, Jay.
NVIDIA trading over 120 now.
Wish those options were more liquid. Okay, let me go to NVIDIA. Sorry, 13.
It's okay. It's coming up to consolidation in the pre-market. I think you might run into some resistance there too. All right. Just looking to see what's making some moves. Right now, DJT is the one that's currently making the moves. The high today on that one is at 23.97, and we're trying to make our way up there right now. Let's be careful. This one has been known to be sprayed.
Yeah, we'll add that trend line and see if that gets tested here. Cloudflare, this is higher. BBAI, we looked at that a little bit earlier. That actually trying to take out 380. BBAI. NAC, this is back here. It's holding some of those gains there. Rumble, I don't really see a move there on Rumble. NNDM still getting pounded, down 16%, although this is curling a little. That's on the other side of that merger.
Oh, nice, Graf. I mean, DM is, it's just been sideways all morning. Need to see a move here. And get a little concerned that if we don't see a move to the upside out of this consolidation, the next move could be down.
Yeah, we wanted to break out of this 450 area. I really wanted this to break to the upside.
Yeah, so it's a little concern here with DM not making this move out of consolidation. And it just continues to tighten up. So it's going to be coming. ALMS finally making a move away from the 200 EMA after spending a good portion of the morning down here. Remember that we are past 10:30 today, so volume is going to be drying up if it hasn't already started to.
Martin asking here, can you please comment on strategy, ticker MSTR? Red Dog calls it Mr., which I rather like MSTR. Asking me the hard question here. Where do you think it's going? Well, I haven't seen Jamie Dimon around here, so I'll go ahead and answer honestly. I think inevitably MicroStrategy is going to be higher here. I don't own it, so I haven't put my money where my mouth is, and it's difficult to trade both the options and the stock, in my opinion. That being said, though, I'm just bullish on Bitcoin. And this guy or this company owns more Bitcoin than anyone else by like a gigantic margin. We're really quick check in here. They own 2.41% of all the outstanding 21 million Bitcoins. They own 506,000 Bitcoin. The company that owns the next highest amount is Mara at 46,000.
Doesn't BlackRock own the most with their IBIT ETF?
That's not on your treasuries.bitbo.io list.
Okay, I don't know how much I thought they had.
So we would have to look into that. I don't know what the answer is to on that, but this is not on here. That ticker is not on here. Doesn't that ETF just mirror? This is an actual company that has it on its balance sheet. I think that's different.
Oh, I thought they actually were holding it. And that's what the
you might be right. Not listed on here. Here, you know what? I'll just give you this. I'll give you this. Here's the source that I was going to, treasuries.bitbo.io. I got that from you, 13.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it's a pretty good site. I like, as far as trading action goes, I really do like that it double tested its 200-day and didn't break down from there. I know there's a lot of talk about this being a Ponzi scheme. A lot of people don't believe it. A lot of people don't necessarily love that they're doing an offering and then using the proceeds of that offering to buy more Bitcoin and put it on the balance sheet. I think that it's basically levered up. It's a levered way of owning Bitcoin through the stock market. Because I'm bullish on Bitcoin, I do think that this goes higher. Some of the key levels that we're looking at right here, really the only one that I've got is going to be this 383.40 if we can get back above it. This was basically a neckline. This was also a resistance area that turned to a former support area. We also had another support area in here. This was about 362 to 376. So that might be another area here. We zoom out, you can see that we're right at the volume point of control.
So on that same website, you do have a totals by category, and you're looking at public companies that hold Bitcoin. If you go to the ETS category,
perfect. There it is.
The BlackRock is at the very top, and I think that's slightly higher than.
You're correct. Okay, so there you go. So you just needed to teach me how to use the website. Sick. iShares Bitcoin Trust, which is owned by BlackRock, they own 573. So it's a race. It looks like Sailor's racing BlackRock here.
All right, but yeah, so that's that was trying to get an idea, because I was pretty sure that BlackRock had the most, but it's just by a very small amount. And then after that, you have Fidelity and then Grayscale and XBT.
Yeah, I think MicroStrategy is going higher here, but I say that with a long-term viewpoint, and the reason for that is because I'm bullish on Bitcoin just in general. So I don't know if that answers your question, but there you go. Lauren here mentioning that MSTR has way outperformed Bitcoin the last 2 years. Cyril saying Sailor has a history of being right at pivotal points and wringing success out of failure with finesse and ease. I love how you said that. What a surprise. Ryan, what a surprise. BlackRock owns everything. And can't say that I'm shocked about that. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of rooting for Sailor in this one.
And they're going to be owning a lot more ports around the world, including in the Panama Canal, which is not making China too happy.
Amazon at the highs. That's for Izzy. Netflix at the highs. That's for SB Trader, who I don't think is here, but nonetheless. Tesla did a really good job coming up off the lows there. Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking around here. You know what I haven't even done? I haven't even really looked at the Twitter streets.
Josh Mandel predicts BTC to 4K in 2025. Huh. What's his timeline on that? Is he looking? I mean, you don't have to give me like the exact date, but I'm looking like, is he talking like first half of the year, second half of the year? I would think it's the second half of the year. It seems like Bitcoin tends to do a lot better towards the end of the year. All right. Is this the move here in desktop metals? Is this finally going to do the thing?
Okay. It's all about that 450 area for the next move anyway.
Yeah.
DATS, this came back into its VWAP and is bouncing so far. Mullen completely pulled off the 70-cent high.
All right. Let's go desktop metals. Break that session high. I have that at 454 or 453. I'm sorry.
Tenon below its VWAP, but really riding on that 65 EMA. ALMS, that came all that, man, that retraced that entire move on that cake and pharmaceuticals deal.
Looks like FCX trying to push into new highs. It's coming up to this resistance area around 4270. That's kind of been the resistance area this morning. Did get a pop above it briefly, but came right back in. The high is 4281.
How's Meta doing? Meta's still at the highs there.
Looks like that's getting a little bit of volume. MLGO sideways, but it looks to me like this may end up going lower.
Coinbase ripping here and getting some expanding volume. It's doing a good job staying above 200 here on Coinbase. Let me actually take a look at the bigger chart here on Coinbase. I like this up to 233. In fact, let me take a look at some of these. Are you wild? Are you chasing something in the hallway? Oh, he's got into trouble. I have seen that look on his face before. He's going to be in trouble here in a sec.
As long as he's not chasing anything in the market.
He's not chasing anything in the market, and the bird is safe. So double check. Yeah, bird is safe. So we're okay there. But he's chasing something out there. Boy, he sounds like a herd of elephants running up and down the hall.
That's a heavy cat.
Well, he's just a big bruiser, and he makes a lot of noise when he runs. It's actually hilarious. And it's on hardwood floor, so it just sounds odd.
Market looks like it just turned weak. NVIDIA's at risk of losing 120 now.
Well, remember, NVIDIA kind of diverged a little bit from the rest of the market. So here's going to be your Qs real quick. Your Qs are still holding near the highs. Here's NVIDIA, however. Not near the highs. NVIDIA, definitely some relative weakness here for the rest of the market. But the market actually looks pretty good. I will say it does not have enough strength to get above this area where it kind of stopped. Well, actually, that's a little bit more clear on the SPY. Right, that this pre-market high level, we can't really take it out yet. Also, breadth continuing to improve here. Up, S&P was green there, just flipped back to red. Same with the Qs. There we go. So S&P and the Qs are holding right on that break-even line. Nice has been strong all day. Let's take a look at those advancers to decliners. Advancers to decliners plus 230. This is up off the lows.
Robert asking if anybody's playing the Wolf ER. That's tomorrow after the market.
Jay might be. Jay brings up Wolf occasionally. And that's not actually a joke. That I'm serious. Here, you know what? Back to the 5-minute chart there. Let me drop this in the support channel here real quick.
I don't like the formation on Wolf's daily, or not daily chart, the 5-minute chart for today's price action. It looks like it's going to trend lower here. Might find some support around 240. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of action in this one right now. Not even 1 million shares traded yet. Float is shorted as 30% with 6.4 days to cover. You could see a squeeze. I don't know. I mean, depending on how earnings go, like if it's a great earnings, you might squeeze there. But if it's not, it may sell off first and squeeze later. Or it could squeeze now, like it just started doing. Just had a big 5-cent move out of nowhere. Desktop Metals knifing.
Okay, let me go back to the main workspace here.
Well, it tried to anyway. It just lost VWAP trying to reclaim it.
Coin, more new highs here. Boy, this is really holding up here. Here's your DATs. Or it was Desktop Metal that you had said.
Yeah.
Not DATs. Sorry.
Yeah. So don't know what we're going to be getting here.
That 450 all day. That 450 was a spot all morning long.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it. Hope you have me back tomorrow and every day after.
Good stuff, Gary.
50 EMA on daily. 50 EMA on daily for SPY. Ryan. So the 50 SMA on the daily is what I usually use. Let's take a look at that one. Because I think we were coming up to trading around that. Let's see here. Let's see. The 50-day SMA is actually a ways away. That's up at around 189, 589, almost 590. We're messing around with the 200 these days. So I don't have a 50 EMA, but it's not one that I normally use. If you're bullish on this market and you want to see this hold above the 200-day SMA and SPY, this will be. We just went down and tested it, didn't we? So that's what you're going to want to see is just more closes above the 200-day SMA. QBTS RIP. Is it rip as it died? Oh, look at this. That's ripping as in it's taking out levels.
So here real quick. So Ed, real quick, Ed, you had mentioned ONDS. Obviously we've talked about this one quite a bit. I think overall unhappy with its performance so far, but not giving up and actually have really that move to the 60 cents recently. I added substantially here. We're popping on volume here, and I don't know what's going on. What?
All quantum is up. Is just ripping right now.
Okay. So one thing here, this is has a drone angle here. But here's something that I wanted to show you. And I found this on X. Guy I've been following for a long time. I don't know him, never met him in person, but he's been pretty good with some of his tweets here. This is happening today. Senate Armed Service Committee to receive a closed briefing on the Department of Defense strategy on countering unmanned aerial systems. Okay, so this comes right off of the website there. So there's a meeting going on here today. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because ONDS's business actually meets that need. This is there's an anti-drone angle here, as well as a drone used for defense angle. So I don't know if this is related here, but again, nothing's really changed here with the long term. I'm disappointed I haven't been able to make a ton of money on this yet. I know I talk about it here, so hopefully no one else out there has been hurt. It has been moving back and forth here pretty good. And one of my buddies that was loading this up at 60 cents told me he made 5 figures plus selling in the threes. So there's definitely some trades to be made here. This one, though, I don't know if this is what's going on here, but like I said, I expect news flow all year. I did see that here this morning. Maybe that's playing into the volume pop that we saw here today and the one that we saw yesterday. It's trying. It's trying. Not there yet, though.
The quantum names are just absolutely going insane right now.
QBTS. Is this halted?
No, it's not.
No, okay.
QBTS, QUBT, Rigetti. I bet Ionix probably doing the same thing. IONQ. Yep.
Rigetti trying to test that 10 level there. Here's IONQ. IONQ actually the weakest of these, interestingly enough.
Yeah, but they all just started ripping out of nowhere. Nautical drones are an issue. I thought that was like LAES that was working on stuff like that. There's a number of companies that are working on underwater drones for the U.S. Like
And the other
drones.
thing is don't forget Palantir has like a directed energy anti-drone angle in it. Laser Photonics, ticker LASE. This also does drone defense, and they actually play commercials about their product on CNBC in the morning sometimes.
Ukraine has really been developing some interesting things with drones and as it pertains to warfare, because they are in a war and they are pumping these things out, putting shotguns on them. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, I'll have to send you some videos about what's happening over there, but Ukraine is really pumping out the drones these days.
I've seen a couple of videos out of that conflict, and they're all gruesome. I'll be honest with you. I know you're talking about something a little bit more serious there, but I'm following something. You're like, right, that's not what I meant.
No, Ryan, it's not. Holding Zim, soon we get a dividend. So is because their dividend is really based upon how well they perform with their revenue, and their revenue is based on shipping rates that they negotiate. Actually, they should have negotiated most of those for the first couple of quarters this year. I'm sorry, first couple of months this year. And depending on how their performance goes, it determines whether or not they even have a dividend. We've seen, I think it was was it 2022? That was the really bad year for them, and they had no dividend because rates were just tanking. Or was it 2023?
Is this Zim that you're mentioning?
Yeah, let me look here, because there was, it was 2022 is when it was really getting hammered, and it was because we had these the shipping rates that were just going crazy in 2021. That's why they had such a great year that year, and then since then they have had to pay less in dividends because they weren't, or no dividends in some cases because they weren't making any money. So Zim's dividends really depended upon their performance, and that performance depended upon shipping rates.
Yeah. Okay. 13. We got 9 seconds left. We got Anne-Marie waiting in the wings. You got any closing words here for? I know.
Let me get out of here
quickly. No.
Let me just clear the way, because we need to get Anne-Marie in here and have her give these options trades to you folks. Have fun with Anne-Marie, guys. I'll talk to you later. See you tomorrow. Enjoy yourselves. And Anne-Marie. Bye-bye.
All right, take care, 13. I wasn't trying to shoot you away, but he plays along with it. It's always good. So 13's departure now, of course, leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's bring her on, see how she's doing. Anne-Marie, good morning. How are you doing here today?
Pretty well. Allergies giving me a fit, but welcome to March.
I was going to say, it is that time of the year. You are not alone. Stay strong, Anne-Marie. You sound great right now, for whatever that's worth. So whatever medication you're working or you're on is working. All right, let's go ahead and share the screen here. It looks like you got a heat map. We did have some stocks that we wanted to take a look at here. What do you got for us today, Anne-Marie?
Well, I am going to cover those. I wanted us to take a look also at energy. So hopefully we have time to squeeze all of that in together today. So let's go ahead and get started. I do want to say that butterfly that we put together in FCX looks like it's going to do fairly well. I talked last week about saying, hey, listen, don't buy any puts right now. The market's just not in the formation to have puts, but they're coming. We just have to wait for this upward cycle to play itself out. And so let's take a look at Netflix. That's the first one.
Awesome.
Everyone talking about Netflix moving off its edges, and it's a pretty nice run. We expect it to kiss 1,000. And so the question might be when, if it's going to run right up there, kiss it, and then back off or hold it. So resistance on the weekly chart looks right like it's about 1,010. We have earnings on April 17th coming up. Oh, Lion. Did you see Lion's note? Okay, hilarious.
TTD or he's going to cry.
All right, so let's take a peek at Netflix. We can do a couple of things. This is actually on the earnings date, so it's probably going to be something that we're going to have to, either it gets to 1,000 and stalls out, or it really moves. Let's take a look at April. If we're going to do that, that is a real gambling space, I would say, that it stalls out at 1,000. But if we do that, it's really, I've seen it as cheap as a nickel. It's now 33 cents. If you want to make it a little wider and say, all right, let's say it gets to 60, the old high, and doesn't go to 80. It doesn't give us nearly, oops, excuse me, that would be 1120. Sorry. It's really pretty expensive,
Sure
right?
is.
And so if we're staring down the way, if we want to give it a little room, we could go to May. It gets pretty expensive if we're looking at the 1,000 mark. But if we want to trade it in front of that move and get out before the earnings, this is a very cheap play, right? It comes up into, let's say it comes up really, if it goes all the way to 1,020, let's say in the next few weeks, right? If it happens to do that, then we can say, I'm getting out. And so look at it, it's at between a credit and a penny. So stick it in there. If you get a penny and all of a sudden you can buy, 30 of them, if you can get it for a penny. And then that way, if it moves up 50%, then you've got yourself a pretty sweet price action event.
You'd be in the catbird seat for sure.
Exactly. So that's what I would look at after the fact.
This thing, sorry to interrupt you, but since we've been looking at this thing has bounced from a penny to 70 cents and a lot of points in between.
Exactly.
So I think your idea out there about throwing a limit order out there, maybe you won't be able to get size if it's a low price there, but man, oh man, this is all over the place. You could pretty easily make some money off that.
Absolutely. And now it's up at, $1 or whatever. So I would say put it out there, try to get them super cheap. I mean, if you can spend $150 on it and you can get 10 of them for 15 cents, you literally could double your money.
Yeah.
Just put it out there right away and go, you know what, I'm taking a quick trade. We've probably got 3 days of solid upside moves left. The big fly in the ointment is what's coming later in the week. We've got a few pretty expensive numbers for us in terms of what might happen with the charts for for news related things that could move the markets up and down.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting spot and super cheap.
Thursday, we have the jobless claims in the morning. Friday, we've got core PCE and the Michigan consumer sentiment. And on Thursday, we have Lululemon reporting earnings after hours. I don't know if that's going to factor in here, but that's also on the docket here. That's going to be one of your bigger reports this week.
Yeah.
I guess we can throw GameStop in there if you want, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. So let me put down the other two. Okay. So the next one on the list was
AppLovin, McLovin, we like to call it, right?
Yeah. So
every time I see it, I think, sorry.
Yeah, I do. I think that I always think McLovin. That's like always. I always do. So here we have AppLovin. If we look at the hourly chart, it's coming right up into a resistance zone. And that resistance zone is about 350. And so you can see it right here. If it breaks to the top, It's got a great big wick up here on the hourly formation. And let me maximize that so we can see those pictures a little better. You can see there's this big candle drop, whatever that news was. They're going to try to make their way up to 360. So my thought is, let's try it. It's 30 cents. Again, another one. Oh, and it just dropped mid to 160. So all over the place. Put your limit order in. Don't chase it. Let the market makers fill it. If it doesn't fill, no harm, no foul. You're in a good space, right? You didn't get involved where risk was a little higher, but this one could be fairly nice. Now, the next question is, what do you do after that? Let's say there's a wick that comes out here to 360, which is why I have that middle strike there. Let's say there's a wick that comes out to 360 and it begins to fail and we see a breakdown in the price action. Don't do it unless you see the breakdown. The put becomes a very attractive move, and you can probably get that also for about 50 cents. It's about patience and putting a price out, just like you're at an auction. You go, hey, I don't want to spend any more than X. So I'm going to put this auction out, see if they let me get it at 50 cents. And then you buy yourself 2 or 3 of them. And if those numbers come in hot or whatever, you've got yourself something super cheap.
Okay. Real quick, Lion saying, what's the strike for app? Lion, the calls there, remember, these are the April expiry. The calls are 350, 360, 370, and the puts there are 340, 330, 320.
Yeah. All right. The next one we can look at is Chipotle. This one's got a bottoming formation.
Sure does.
So the question might be, where's it going to hold that bottom, or does it turn around and move to the north? This, to me, is a pretty good question. And I suspect, since tariff chatter might ease up as everybody gets themselves out of their basic whatever, this could move easily up into the higher ranges. They do have earnings coming out on 4/23. So if we take a look at the chain, if we look at the 55s, let's say earnings looks great. We could, or that we're trading it into a new bounce zone. Let's say there's a new area that's going to give this chart a lift. You can buy it before the earnings event. You could do the 51 in April the 4th if you're going, hey, a rising tide lifts all boats. This is what we might actually be seeing. What can we do from that space? This one easily might give you, 50%, but it would be a 1-to-1. So you'd need to say, hey, if I'm going to make 50% and close it off at 105, I need to close it at, hang on, I got to flatten the trade here. I need to hold it until it gets to 35, and then I've got to bail. So you really want to manage your risk here into the space. If you're thinking it's going to run like the wind, then the 55 calls, which I think are probably short in April, the 55 calls are 19 cents, but there's 20,000 sitting there. And that might be a short put stop, a short call as opposed to a long call in that area. If you want to trade earnings,
Real quick on that,
sure.
short versus long there. Are you looking at the chart and thinking, well, they might have just sold these calls because they're not expecting it to trade above 55? Is that the thought here?
That is my thought.
Okay.
That is my thought. Have you seen how much volume is piled into that 50 on the FCX May call?
Oh my God, yes, I did. In fact, I commented on that earlier because Anne-Marie, I saw yesterday when that all took place, there was like 62,000 worth of contracts traded there. My first thought was, oh, snap, I probably should have sold. It was like a 55-cent ask. Those were initially swept up at 39 cents. I said, boy, I probably should have sold there because I bet that's part of the trader taking gains since that moved in their favor. I woke up this morning, it's 134,000 in the open interest.
Yes.
They didn't take nothing. They just added to it.
They did. They added. Yeah. And so that's a really good point about how to really tell what open interest is doing relative to volume. It's if that number increases at the end of the day, you know they are positioning into that number versus away from that number.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot on a
I
side.
booked some gains on those contracts. I still hold half my position. That's been a winner so far. So
fantastic.
Yeah, we're good with that.
Absolutely fantastic. So that's really all I have for Chipotle. Here's the thing. You could look at it and go, listen, once it gets over 50, it's going to start having some kind of recovery space. You might want to look at the 52s, but there's a fair bit, the volatility right at the earnings expiration week. It's pretty sizable, but there's not a lot of open interest there. All the open interest is at 48. And so those are the guys that I think are in the money. And so if you wanted to do a spread, you could go 48, 53, probably not going to hit it. So there's your $5 to 58. And it's $1.50, but that's a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And if it turns the other way, it's going to be a little bit of a nightmare, to be honest. So that's the storyboard there. All right, let's go to Trade Desk, because I wouldn't want to make anybody cry. Actually, I did that this morning. I absolutely scorched someone, but it was just...
They probably deserved it.
Well, they were being a little pie in the sky. And I said, let me bring you back to earth. So sometimes I can work on tact, Ryan. It's not my best trait. So
You'd have fooled me, Anne-Marie. You are an angel every time we talk.
And that's all you, my friend.
Okay.
That's all you. All right. So here we are cresting up over that big fat round number of 60. Notice on the hourly chart, and I'm going to expand this a little so you can see, there was an inventory accumulation event between 58 and 60, but then they had to liquidate at a discount. And so now they're back in the range, up above it. My thought is they certainly could pull in before bouncing out. The question is, on the weekly chart down here, are they building some kind of megaphone, right? So if you think about all this motion that's weekly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of downside motion, and they're trying to hold this 60, there are traders probably everywhere up the chain that are thinking to themselves, okay, if it gets back to 65, I am out of here, right? And so from that perspective, I would surmise that there's a fair bit of selling up here, but it could also drive the price to the north. So I think that's a pretty nice trade in the short term. Remember, you can't carry this one to expiration, I think, because there's going to be reflexive action to the downside. So let's say you take it at the money because it's the cheapest, and you go to, so it's at 62. Let's say you go to 67.50, and then what is that? 5.5?
72.50, right?
62.7. Oh, shucks. I put 67 down. Let's use 67.
See,
So-
you don't have a 72, so 5 more is going to be that 72 and a half. I think you're going to have a broken wing here by 50 cents no matter
Yeah.
what you do.
Yeah, so let's give ourselves a little bit of risk, right? $500 of risk. It's $1 right now. My thought is you could put this in the chains for cheaper. See if you can fill it at 76, because I think the market is going to fade right back into support today. And so it's going to bring folks down a little. We need an inventory correction / consolidation style day after the big run down and the big runs up. So we're going to need a little consolidation. See if you can get it a little bit cheaper. That's what I would suggest. And again, you want to put an alert at that 62, watch it past that. And if it starts fading, just get out. Just get out. We have no idea how long the charts will hold. We think this is going to be a nice reflexive bounce in continuation, but getting it on the cheap is going to be the better bet.
Okay. So be patient with your entry on this one. Make sure you get it cheap.
Yes.
There you
like
go.
all of them.
Okay. I'm not sure that being patient is Lion's strong suit. In fact, quite the opposite. But we might have something to work on there, Lion. There you go. There's your trade for the trade desk.
Tell me one trader that's got patience as a strong suit. I'm not well.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
We all, even some of us that preach patience, will occasionally catch ourselves doing something very impatient. That's just how it works. I'm with you on that. You're pretty patient. Not to put you on the spot or anything, but you're pretty patient.
I am pretty patient, but only because I remember the pain of not being patient.
Yeah.
It has cost me dearly over time.
Yeah. And you're not alone in that. In fact, one of the things that I've always been told is that the market is a mechanism to move money from the impatient to the patient.
Yeah.
I would rather be the patient in that case.
Yeah, exactly. So shall we look at Lulu? We have time. I'm racing through these.
That's good. We're covering a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we are. I like it. So advancers to decliners, side note, there are about 100 more advancers to decliners. It's been pretty sideways, and we can see that in the heat map. We have some red, we have some green. It's not a swoosh to the upside. So that tells me there's consolidation. We also have the VVIX moving up from its lows. And so that tells me that folks are putting on downside risk as a hedge, but we'll see. I think they're just trying to be preemptive, and it's probably early. So let's take a look at Lulu. It's been sitting in a really wide range. Here's a monthly chart. Take a look at that consolidation. Over a year from 259, it came up and tried to break it, but couldn't. And so this doesn't feel good to me. Although, listen, I buy Lulu clothes for my husband all the time. He loves their slacks. He's just a big fan of their stuff. And every time I go someplace, I'm like, oh, Lulu. You see it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. He's a smart man, by the way. I like the ABC pants too. They're great.
Yeah.
And I see there. This is still the most prominent clothing brand I see in fitness, at the gym, out when people are out running. So it is everywhere, to your point, everywhere.
Yeah. And so here's another thing about Lulu. It caters to the demographic of the market that is doing most well at this time. And so it's not targeting the lower edges of that space. And that part is doing very, very well. Now, they have earnings coming up on 3/27. So what has happened to me over this last earnings cycle is that I have found returns to not be as consistent as I would like them to be. So if you are going to take a trade in Lulu right now, the first thing I would say is probably needs to be a quick trade, but it's holding both the 8 and the 21 simple moving average, coming in to test it, old resistance from yesterday. So today presents a potentially ideal bounce zone. So let's say you go out to April, great volatility, by the way. You go out to April and you say, hey, I think this might go out from 335 to 345, but then stall out 80 cents, right? Tight amount of time. We're looking at a reflexive market where the sellers are saying, whoa, I didn't expect this. I got to get out of here. Buyers saying, oh my gosh, this is the dip. I got to buy it. And that could move very, very nicely. What do you want to do? Make your stop 40 cents. If you buy it at 85, look for the strikes to get tested, right? This 335 is actually in the money. And so it's a good chance for you to go, oh, okay, this looks like it might hold. Let's see if it gets to 340. And then I'm hitting the fire escape. So that's my thought for there on a quick strike move. If you've got your eyeballs on Lulu, having a long-term view of the market right now is a little bit dangerous because there's so many known unknowns, and then the law of unintended consequences is always in a space to go, I wonder what's going to happen next. So that is my thought with Lulu. Oh, we have time for one more.
We sure do.
Let's take a look. Man, I got to pat myself on the back. All right. So let's take a look at LNG. Cheniere Energy, these guys are very big in the nat gas space, pardon me. And as you know, my thought is that nat gas is going to have its heyday in the future. I don't know when it is. I don't know how much it is, but in terms of energy charts, this is one of the prettiest energy charts out there. It is so good. So two things I'm going to do. I'm going to build a position for the trader who thinks longer term, and we're going to use one of Tim's leaps into March, and we're going to take a look at how it is. It's going to take a minute for you to fill this for sure. But if we look at the big fat round number of 250, and then we go to where the traders are positioning at 280 at this point, we've got 310 as the next one. It's $4.20 for a $3,000 upside move. Now, you might say to yourself, wow, that's pretty expensive. Now, here's the thing. The great thing about it being very far away is that it's not going to fall like a stone without having a chance to recover. So support action for this chart, let's pretend it might be building a cup and handle, right? And if it's breaking out and giving us that cup and handle formation, it could hold 225 and then run straight up. 257 is the high, and it was the high on a spike. So this is one that's likely to give you 20 to 30% in the longer term and keep you in a pretty good spot in terms of conservative entry. If you have one more conservative entry and you go, all right, let me go in the money to where support is, and you go out of the money to where resistance is at that 250-ish area. So 230, 220 to 250 to 280. It's 530, a little bit more expensive. And then, here's a great thing. See how this went from 420 to 390? Just sit down and find the mark that you want to sell it at, right? What is the butterfly selling at? And then price it down and see if you can get in on the cheap. Same thing here. See if you can get it for about $4.30. Leave it out there.
Mhm.
It's already in the money. If this option closed today, it would be worth $11. And so that's already, if it comes all the way down into that support and begins to build, you could potentially add to the position if you're so inclined. But this energy company has been a rock star in the space. Could they come all the way back to 180? Yes. I'd put an alert for that 220. If it does not close the week over 220, if it comes into that space, you get out, you might have yourself a 20 to 30% clip, and you'll be in good shape.
Okay, so that's kind of what I was going to wonder there. Are you waiting basically an
I'm
entire
totally
year?
waiting.
So you're waiting an entire year till expiry on this one?
Yes, but if it begins to expand very quickly, let's say some of the constituents that are telling us, hey, that was the bottom, we're having all-time highs next,
Mhm.
I'm going to be able to close this easily for 30%. Because listen, this could go to 300 and this would still be a good trade. You'd still be
Okay.
up 30, 40%.
Okay.
So it's about the price. You don't want to hold it all the way. You just want to go, hey, I'm going to try and get 30% here.
Okay.
Or I'm going to try and get whatever, and you'll have it.
Okay. Awesome stuff. That's cool. A leap butterfly. That might be another first here, Anne Marie.
Actually, we had one about maybe a week ago today. We did put one on because I've just gotten so much great feedback from those that folks are saying, hey, give us some more of those.
Okay. Eli, we struggle with Thinkorswim. That's more of because what she's sharing there is Thinkorswim. If you ever have a question or you need me to read something off of it, I'm happy to do that. Did that for Lion here. So don't worry. If something doesn't make sense or you just need me to repeat it, throw it in the chat. I'll go ahead and do that when I get a chance. Anne Marie, thanks so much. Once again, we've got Paul Meeks coming up next here for Tech Tune-Up. Anne Marie, have a great rest of your Tuesday. We're going to do a little presentation here tonight. Should be fun. Can't wait to do that again. Tell you what, you get me, you, and Tim Melvin in the room, and it is a good time. We're going to have some more fun here tonight. So, yes, Anne Marie, thanks very much. Have a great one. We'll check in with you Friday, okay?
My pleasure. See you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. That is Anne Marie Band. Really good stuff, folks. I'm going to send you over to Paul Meeks next for Tech Tune-Up. You didn't have to go anywhere. I'll take care.